M-U-L-L-E-T. Vibes. My day was usual business. I walked with hair full of stress. Some would say that this was getting burned out. As I sipped upon my coffee, an epiphany dawned on me. I would find my career. Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Well, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. The mullet seemed to call me, so I took a trip to go see just what kind of man I could become. So I went into the barber, my words couldn't have hit harder, and then the deed was done. Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Well, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. As the mullet changed me, I noticed my power growing exponentially. So I used this power for good, as I knew I should, but I still can't get a date. The Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Well, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. And finally, filling the quota is something I could finally see.
Wait, what do you mean, quota?
Today, we talking mullets. The mullet vibe is not just a haircut, it's a way of life. Get out the way, posers. Try and pick up what I'm putting down. M-U-L-L-E-T. Vibes. My day was usual business. I walked with hair full of stress. Some would say that this was getting burned out. As I sipped upon my coffee, an epiphany dawned on me. I would find my career. Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Well, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. The mullet seemed to call me, so I took a trip to go see just what kind of man I could become. So I went into the barber, my words couldn't have hit harder, and then the deed was done. 'Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. 'Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Whoa, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. As the mullet changed me, I noticed my power growing exponentially. So I used this power for good, as I knew I should, but I still can't get a date. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Whoa, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. And finally, filling the quota is something I could finally see.
Wait, what do you mean, quota?
Today, we talking mullets. The mullet vibe is not just a haircut, it's a way of life. Get out the way, posers. Try and pick up what I'm putting down. M-U-L-L-E-T. Vibes. My day was usual business. I walked with hair full of stress. Some would say that this was getting banal. As I sipped upon my coffee, an epiphany dawned on me. I would find my career. 'Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. 'Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Whoa, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. The mullet seemed to call me, so I took a trip to go see just what kind of man I could become. So I went into the barber, my words couldn't have hit harder, and then the deed was done. 'Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. 'Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Yeah, it's the Mullet Man. Whoa, it's the Mullet Man. Vibes. As the mullet changed me, I notice my power growing exponentially. So I use this power for good, as I knew I should, but I still can't get a date. It's the bullet mail. Yeah, it's the bullet mail. Yeah, it's the bullet mail. Well, it's the bullet mail. Vibes. And finally, filling the quota is something I could finally see.
Wait, what do you mean, quota?
Today, we talking mullets. The mullet vibe is not just a haircut, it's a way of life. Get out the way, posers. Try and pick up what I'm putting down. M-U-L-L-E-T. Vibes. My day was the usual business. I walked with hair full of stress. Some would say that this was getting banal. As I sipped upon my coffee, an epiphany dawned on me. I would find my career. 'Cause when it's business in the front and party in the back, you know you're gonna be okay. 'Cause the boss is on your ass, waiting for the weekend, can't see the light of day. It's the mullet mail. Yeah, it's the mullet mail. Yeah, it's the mullet mail. Well, it's the mullet mail. Vibes. The mullet seemed to call me, so I took a trip to go see just what kind of man I could become. So I went into the barber, my words couldn't have hit harder, and then the deed was done.
Today, we pay homage to the streamer's salty snack of choice, and the capo who's brave enough to defend their honor. Sit back and listen for a while, friends. You're in for one hell of a salty surprise.
Sometimes streaming requires a meal, but the chat won't let you enjoy your snack. Unrelenting in that mockery, you fire back with words of wisdom and attack. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Yeah! Sodium's getting high, and vitamin B12. You're getting nourishment from the nuts variety that you delve. You may think of dirty jokes, all your 69 intros, but Capo continues lunch. He continues to munch. You didn't turn your back on them, although they're making your mouth dry. You'll never go hungry again until your death counts 60 high.
Let me munch my nuts. Shut up. Let me munch my nuts. Shut up. Let me munch my nuts.
Damn your rotating cube! Ah!
Shut up. Let me munch my nuts. 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 Shut up. Let me munch my nuts.
Yeah! That was a fucking jam!
Today, we pay homage to the streamer's salty snack of choice and the capos brave enough to defend their honor. Sit back and listen for a while, friends. You're in for one hell of a salty surprise. Sometimes streaming requires a meal, but the chat won't let you enjoy your snack. Unrelenting in that mockery, you fire back with words of wisdom and attack. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Yeah! Sodium's getting high, and vitamin B12. You're getting nourishment from the nuts variety that you delve. You may think of dirty jokes, all your 69 tropes. But Capo continues lunch, he continues to munch. You didn't turn your back on them, although they're making your mouth dry. You'll never go hungry again until your death counts 60 high. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts.
Damn your rotating cube! Ah!
Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. 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 Shut up! Let me munch my nuts.
Yeah! That was a fucking jam!
Today, we pay homage to the streamer's salty snack of choice and the capos brave enough to defend their honor. Sit back and listen for a while, friends. You're in for one hell of a salty surprise. Sometimes streaming requires a meal, but the chat won't let you enjoy your snack. Unrelenting in that mockery, you fire back with words of wisdom and attack. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. sodium's getting high, and vitamin B12. You're getting nourishment from the nuts variety that you delve. You may think of dirty jokes, all your 69 tropes. But Capo continues lunch, he continues to munch. You didn't turn your back on them, although they're making your mouth dry. You'll never go hungry again until your death counts 60 high. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts.
Damn you, rotating cube! Ah!
Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my
We keep going for the entire session.
I have not the words to describe what is happening before me.
Ouch.
I got confused because I saw you guys still going on the stream, but you had stopped on this.
Anyway, hello everybody! Welcome back to the Ebon Death, episode 22. Who will die this week? Will it be Capo again?
Yeah.
Okay, put your hand up. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna die.
Volunteer.
Orgy flashbacks. What? Oh my god.
You have lived an interesting life, sir.
Orgy.
Learn something new about your co-workers every day.
Monka, what the fuck?
Well, swiftly moving on.
Please
For
do.
one inspiration of the cardiac variety, who wants to give me the recap of last week's session?
Capo
Okay.
died.
Take it
and
away.
Came back.
Okay, it was an absolute mess. We went at the end of the other session. We went from Crowhorn back to Kuwanga, and then we found a gem, and then there was issues on a gem, and then suddenly at the beginning of the last episode, everyone had a ruby apart from Caporius, who had an emerald, and we tried bashing them. Solgra tried, and it was like an explosion, and we went flying, and then Bucky didn't see any of the actual gems, and then we left because I can't remember what happened with the gems. I think we left it there for a bit, and then we started going to Goodton, and John was coming with us, and then he decided he was gonna go before us, so we went. We stopped for camping. We did a tiny hut, and then in the night we started hearing noises and from Sirenscape, and then in the morning there was 2 race layers outside the tiny hut looking at Gersha, who was standing in the middle of yes. And then we were all awakened, and we spent like 15 minutes discussing what we should do. And Caporius stepped outside the tiny hut, and just outside, like on the square in Roll20 next to him, materialized a 4 squares big giant Githla race, which I believe is the one that we got when we cut the lady open in Fontaine. Which was super big and super scary, so there was that. and the Githvlaris thing killed Caporius, and we were fighting. I did a Ghostbusters number with flamethrower. Everyone smashed. The beasts, not just smashed, because no one smashed in the actual thing. And then Sagar got yeeted to another dimension, and we were really worried. And Caporius was dead, and then Bahamut appeared. Caporius was reborn as a just true warlock and not a monklock anymore, and Bahamut brought Solgra back.
Damn, that was pretty much everything. Nicely remembered. Yeah, that's
That's
worth
the
a
most I've talked in like a year or so, I think.
That is most certainly worth a Cardic inspiration. Well done.
Yes.
Nice.
Sorry, I just wanted to go for it so that I could get more inspiration, because I've been on the low side for a few weeks now.
Really, how many do you have compared to my 0?
One card because I think I gave it to someone for the fight, and I have one normal inspiration.
Okay.
I used to have like 6, like at the early stage.
I've ever used my own inspiration.
You're not bad. You like inspiration. You get one. Everyone gets one.
And I think I gave out an inspiration to Cactus during the week on one of his streams just because he said something nice.
Aww.
I was like, you didn't need to say nice things about me, but you did, so there you go. Feel inspired.
Being nice.
Cute. So nice.
Yes, I can be
So
bought
nice.
with
So
compliments. Anyway, that brings us to the start of this week's session, where the Sneven find themselves stood on the road with a battle against the Riss just fought, and a newly warlock-inspired Caporius stood before you, and a confused, possibly terrified-looking Solgra stood somewhat just behind him after Bahamut brought her back.
So how was your
is
trip?
having issues with D&D Beyond, because mine has crashed. It's not coming back.
What did you see in the parallel dimension? Did you see beams? Lots of beams?
Lots of beans, lots of beans.
Yeah, beams. Lots of beams.
The revengeing of the Beanomorph.
I forgot that all
Aggressive
happened off stream.
note-taking for Discord.
Beamore.
Well, we made it 30 seconds, you guys, so GG, let's try again next week.
Thanks for joining us on episode 22.
So, Capo, what's it like not being dead? Like, how are you back from that? Like, I literally, like, everyone else watched you die.
Pretty certain at some point I watched myself die there. I have
Are you
no idea what happens. What was that?
Are you even Caporius anymore?
Well, yes. Who else would I be?
God.
I don't think so. I think I'm still me. As far as I feel different, but I still feel me.
I don't want to interrupt this
certain.
conversation too much, but I just want to point out to Gershaw, you literally saw Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon God, create a bright light that blinded you and Caporius is alive. How you came back to life is maybe something to do with the big dragon man stood behind him that's just vanished.
Hey, big shiny
but you're
dragon
talking
man
to
doesn't mean...
Gershaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
like, big shiny dragon doesn't mean shit to Gershaw. Gershaw only thinks of the floor as God.
Gershaw, you know I'm real, right?
Did you guys hear that too?
No, they didn't.
Hear what?
See,
I didn't hear anything.
just how it is. So,
Good berry at Caporius to see if it sticks.
How hard do you throw it?
Not enough to cause damage.
I mean,
Berries?
it will act like a
Develop or
regular
something?
berry.
A regular Caporius.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the more important point here.
I
If a
yell
good
out,
berry would
"He's-
normally
he's
like
good.
hit a person and stick to them, it will stick to him.
He's still good. The good berry sticks. He's all good.
oh, okay, no worries.
Thank you, Sharid.
You
I
gain
think.
1 temporary HP.
Oh, God bless. Thank you, actually, Sharid.
And Solgra, you can teleport now.
No.
What happened then?
All I know is that I'm alive right now.
I threw a good berry at Solgrid too.
It sticks. Sol gains 1 temporary HP.
She's still good.
Lorga, where did you go?
Not completely sure. I need some time to kind of think over what the fuck happened.
Okay. We're happy you're back. You just poof. We've been like, oh no. And then you're back. Good.
So, where are we going? What's the plan, guys?
we were doing we were on our way to Goodton, I think, and then we all this happened. Yeah. So shall we carry on to Goodton?
So we were.
Is the cart still okay? I mean, like, that was a pretty big risk. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
so
fire.
the cart, horses, and ponies were on the other side of the tiny hut to the Riss. So they're a bit stressed, are the live animals, but everything is pretty much fine. They were focused on you specifically as a group.
Hey, Oscar, do you want to
Bleeding.
talk to the animals and make sure they're okay?
Yeah, I can do that. Let me find the spell that does. I don't think I've done this before. Ooh.
And for what it's worth, Caporius and Solgra, welcome back. Yay!
Yay!
We'll do some celebratory backflips.
Thank you.
Fanny Boss, you gain
Yeah.
1 temporary HP. Your backflips are so good, it's just a bit of a warm up. You're feeling great.
Excellent.
Yes, I shall speak with animals. There we go.
Okay, you are able to currently speak with animals.
Cool. I would like to talk to the horses and be like, yo, you good?
And matching your particular dialect, the horses, whilst somewhat startled, respond, "Yo, yeah, we good.
Tight.
Sure." You get a sense that while they are skittish and that was a pretty nasty fight, they've been around the Sneven long enough to realise that, you know, even as simple creatures, this is kind of what they've come to expect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how ready you guys are to get on the move, depending on how things are. I mean, like, you know, coming back to life and traveling to different dimensions and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Sounds pretty stressful, so I'm just gonna, you know, do what I do best and drive the cart. I just walk over to the cart and just saddle up immediately. No more speaking.
Yep.
Before we go, I'd like to pull Caporius aside. And I forgot what I was going to say.
Do you actually say that to him? Just all menacing and like looking over him, pulled to one side.
Admittedly, I have just been yeeted to another realm, yeeted back the day after I just buried my husband for the second time. I feel like, there's a little bit of PTSD going on right now.
My new headcanon is that Solgru just towering over Caporius, like grabs him by the arm, pulls him to the side of the road, like, I have to speak with you, then just stares at him for a second and goes, I forgot what.
Hang on, towering over. How small do you think I am, Briggy?
How small do you think Solgru is? Like, Solgru's terrifying.
7 foot something.
10.
There you go.
7
I don't
foot
know what that
10.
means in centimeters.
10.
6.
10.
Okay.
So that's like just
Oh,
slightly more
6'10".
than Capo
Oh.
in life.
That's,
That is
it's
a
like 20
lot.
centimeters more.
That is a lot.
The tape measures come out again.
I'm
Are you
almost
gonna
at
extend
the
that thing
ceiling.
6 foot into the air?
5 foot. Oh, don't collapse on the PC. 6 foot.
What is a PC?
You're 207 centimeters, Solgra.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
Nobody
I googled that
has.
in 1 second.
Yeah, but I live for the tape measure memes now.
What is Google?
I think they meant goggles, but got it wrong.
Yes, twinsies.
Mine is
Recently
small
we
and
have the same.
inferior.
Anyway, massively derailed by measurements. So I'd like to kind of grab Capo by the shoulder, Caporius by the shoulder. Back there, what happened? I believe it was Bahamut that brought me back.
That's certainly what it seems like. I've not known of him to do this, but then again, I've not known that much of him in the grand scheme of things.
Bahamut is your patron.
He is, yes. I suppose I don't really talk about it that much. There are these voices in my head that often laugh about it, but that's just my subconscious. But in actuality, I don't actually talk about it that much.
I thought that only fiends and devils and demons could be patrons.
Suppose not. I'm really not the right person to ask, despite what I am. I've made this pact with Bahamut, and he has given me power and helped me tremendously. But past that, I know not much of this lifestyle, for lack of a better word.
I feel like I owe you an apology.
That is that it's like that would be why.
I spent the last year, maybe more, being so wrapped up in trying to get rid of every warlock I could get my hands on that I didn't pay attention to the possibility that maybe there weren't bad ones out there.
From what we have seen just recently, I couldn't really blame you for that at all.
I feel like what I saw when I was transported to wherever, to another realm, I feel like there's more important things to worry about now than petty squabbles, and there are bigger things out there, and we all need to stick together.
I think that is a good way of looking at it. I would be more than happy to move on from this, not to hold it against you.
And I extend my arm out.
I do the same. Hands. So, onwards?
Onwards.
So, as Solgra and Caporius have their chat at the roadside, the rest of the party have prepared the cart and the horses to travel onwards to Goodton. Specifically, the horses have spent their time, and the ponies, crowding around Shreed as Shreed attempts to board the cart. You can't understand them, Shreed, but you can see that they're all begging.
Oh, I offer out some good berries to see if they want them.
They all partake in the good berries, eating them greedily. And they seem to calm down somewhat.
Oh, you guys haven't been fed in a while. And I look around seeing who is in charge of feeding the horses.
Who is in charge of feeding the horses?
We never talked about this. This is the first time. Were you supposed to feed them?
I mean, literally, we've just been paying people along the way to do that all the way through.
Can I feed my pony some tobacco?
When you say, "Oh, were we meant to feed them?" Your pony looks specifically at you with a glare that could kill, as if to say, like, "Yes, you were meant to feed me."
Can I pat the horse and the pony and be like, "Good pony, good pony"?
I
roll
go to the back of the car
roll an animal handling check. That's the thing, right? That's the
Oh,
something we
no.
never roll.
Oh, I'm gonna get my hand bit off. Oh my god.
Ah, yes, that stat you thought would never be needed.
I have a +1 for some reason.
Well,
something, right?
you're
have no
successful. Your pony wasn't too angry with you specifically, so it lets it slide. It's happy again.
Okay. I keep
tell the
patting.
horses that I'll remember to feed them every day. I will take on horse feeding duty.
I will pat Sharid as well now. After the horse, I just said that after. I'm like,
The horses
Thank you,
trusting
Batman.
Sharid to keep his promise to feed them every day means that it will take you half the time it would have taken you now to reach Goodton. As the horses work just a little bit harder.
Sweet fed.
If only we had thought about this earlier.
If only you'd cared about the horses, you might have been
Hey.
somewhere closer to
I
Goodton.
care about Esquire.
Not enough to feed Esquire, though.
I pay people to feed Esquire well.
yeah, they were in stables and stuff until like
That
an
is not
hour
good
ago.
parenting, Charles.
Hey,
I mean, if you
Esquire,
think
you're
about
good,
it, you feed your horses for a day, they're fed. But if you don't feed them, they'll have to fend for themselves, and will take way longer to get to our destination. So.
Oh, so is there not like grass on the floor or something?
They would have been munching on grass.
Do any of you have pets in real life?
Compare grass to good berries?
Yeah, do I need to ask that question now?
I mean, you know how.
If it was
And
a
you have to
chicken, you would have remembered to feed it.
Yes.
One thing is that I used to do horse riding when I was little, so I should know this, and I'm like,
Right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Just before we leave, I'm just gonna get a little bag, and I'm gonna put it around Esquire's neck, and then put some feed in it, so he's got like a little feed bag, and he can just, like dip into it like a snack bag whenever he wants. There you go, Esquire. Problem sorted.
Fucking mix.
You should have said something, man.
Roll animal handling for me.
oh no,
Oh, okay.
it's never.
So ready for the first Snaven.
Stop it.
Emerald 14, which is 2 Snevens.
It's true.
A good kind of Sneven, though, because it's more than 10.
9.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got the feedback.
Cool. Right, I'm gonna saddle on up onto the cart.
Can I ride on top of the cart again? Because I couldn't do a lot of reading when you were distracting me last night with the chit chat.
Who was distracting?
All I asked was about you shooting me.
Oh.
That's all I asked.
And I was busy trying to find the secret code. It's important. Not just your floors and man that come in the night are important.
Hey, the big green buff dude, is it? The thing.
I'm
So you
not
guys have
doubting
already
that.
set off
I'm
this-
just saying there's other important things.
Right. Okay.
This
Like,
argument is
it's
happening in transit.
Yeah. Apparently. Just
So-
read.
So
I'm
rather than
gonna
getting
look
any
up the
reading
road.
done, M has already wasted time during the travel arguing with Gershaw about the fact that M couldn't actually do any reading.
I'll give Gesh an eye roll, like, and get some amber, get some leaves, make a rolly, and proceed with my favorite kinky book. Number
You
2.
would.
I'm halfway through volume 2.
Indeed.
You won't ignore me, Esquire. You understand me, Esquire.
Esquire ignores you.
I'm
I-
oblivious to the fact that he ignores me.
From
so
the
it's
top
just
of
like,
the
yeah,
cart,
that's
can
fine.
Gersha hear a sheesh?
Yeah, we'll say that's canon.
Thank you.
I wonder why they're making
Can
that
I
noise,
follow them?
Esquire.
Can I
So-
throw some good berries into my pocket to see if Bucky eats them now that he's covered?
You can, and after a short amount of time, reaching into your pocket again, you find the good berries have gone.
Excellent.
And you don't hear Bucky's voice, but you do get the emotion sort of transmitted to you telepathically of thank you. So
Just glad that you're fed and happy, Bucky.
I didn't actually set up any music for any of this coming up, so it's just gonna have to use pre-mades.
I thought you didn't be able to open Skyrim.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
Something
Well,
scary.
everyone on stream got to hear Siren Escape for a while at least. So after about half a day's travel, you make your way towards Goodton. And traveling over River Angor, over a large stone bridge, you begin to see the temple at Goodton, which, as you're getting closer, you realize the temple is Goodton. There seems to be almost no buildings surrounding it or on the road preceding it. A few small storage sheds is what it looks like that appear to be somewhat disused, and the rest of the landscape being made up of fields and trees. As you ascend this mesa and reach the foot of the mountain, you see in front of you the temple is built directly into the mountain, and it extends high into the sky, hundreds of meters. You couldn't fathom where the peak of the temple is, and the opening entrance of the temple there's no doors, it is simply columns, and it extends deep into the mountain. Braziers are lit along the temple floors and suspended from various points in rafters that scatter the entire temple as far as the eye can see. It's a very open space inside. Although there are stone rooms within the temple that look large enough that they could take the place of buildings. It's a interesting sort of architectural phenomenon that a place like this can even exist. You imagine that such a large stone monument, if were it not made by dwarves, it certainly would have had to have stood at this point for hundreds, if not thousands, of years before you reached here. You hear the sounds of various monks meditating. You see religious iconography depicting the goddess Lyra. It's pretty much everywhere. It's on everything. Down to things that look like they could be sold in souvenir shops that just say, "I heart Lyra." You even spot a snow globe. Of all things, there is in fact a Lyra snow globe. There's everything you can imagine is related simply to this singular goddess.
How much for the snow globe?
It does not look as if it's for sale, but it looks as if everything itself here is a shrine. As far as you can tell, you've so far only spotted monks that appear to be meditating or in the midst of worshipping, until you've travelled a few minutes deeper into the temple. You find a stone room supported by columns that looks as if it could serve the purpose of a traditional tavern. A large fire is built inside, and then a column extends far up into the rafters. You have no idea where it ends. You assume maybe a connection of these columns lead out of the temple itself so that it might sustain the temple without smoke damage. But inside you do spot the familiar figures of both Jorn Dondagod and Vitas Lani sat at a table, Jorn slowly drinking mead, savouring it, as they quietly discuss something that you can't hear.
Reaction. Shock.
I find a place to saddle up the things, like they say, hitch up the cart.
As you are attempting to hitch the cart, you are approached by a monk who's wearing large plate armor. His religious vestments all seem to be clerical in nature, and he's wielding a rather large mace. But he smiles at you as he approaches, and he speaks to you in a manner that you assume to be some sort of greeting, as he bows to you and says, "Are you evil?"
No.
And he nods. "I see that you're new to the temple. You do not know our greetings. What is it that you seek?"
It's not gonna lie, we've gone through a bit of a time, so we just kind of wanted to come here to see our friends that are just over there.
Ah,
And then
travellers. You were not here yourself on a pilgrimage then?
I mean, I was a monk for a time, but now I'm one of these, and pulls out the pin.
He nods again. Of course, you're with Dondagod, of course. Be that as it may, have you heard of Lyra?
No?
might I interest you in a tour of the temple and tell you of our goddess of joy?
I shout to everyone in the car, "Hey guys, do you want to go see Lyra and all the joys and what was it you said?"
That I might teach you of our goddess Lyra, the goddess of joy.
You already taught things about Lyra, guys.
I feel like this party needs a little bit of joy.
I yell over and ask, "Is she good?"
I don't know. Is Lyra good?
And to which the monk responds, of course she is good." M.
I
Okay,
went over
yeah.
and offered him a good berry. And said,
Okay. No, Shareed. We're gonna
Huh?
do this. We're gonna do this as a thing.
M's hand is up. You're on top of the cart right now, aren't you?
We get the snow globes if we do your tour.
So while Gershor and Shareed are discussing the Goodberry situation right now, you lean over the cart and ask that question, to which the monk responds, "Ah, I see you're interested in our various Lyra merchandise, which we use to fund the temple. Of course, we have many gift shops. Some would say Lyra's temple is one giant gift shop."
They're not free.
He thinks, "I am unsure as to whether Lyra would allow that.
What if we gave you the good berry for the snow globe?
And if she's the
Berries are
goddess
very
of
good.
joy, those snow globes will spark us real joy.
I do humbly apologize, for I am a new member to the order. I would have to ask Master Dieback of the rules regarding giving away objects of Lyra."
Can
We would show them to people and tell people how great Lyra is and what great items you have in your gift shop. We travel a lot. Imagine all the people coming from all the world. Idus, new continent, old continent, the Fae. I could bring this back to my world. Imagine all the people traveling through another world just to see the amazing Temple of Gutton.
Roll
Stop trying to
persuasion.
swindle the guy.
I just want the snow globe. It's pretty, and I have one already. It would look so nice next
guys,
to the
I
other
will
one I
turn
have.
this cart around.
Roll persuasion.
Charles or me?
Roll persuasion.
Because I want one.
This reminds me of like a McDonald's order in a car full of people. At the fucking drive-through. Do you want a milkshake? No. Yes.
21. Can I get my
You've done
snow
a
globe?
yeah. You've done a pretty good job at convincing this chap right here. He's he's you can tell that he's pretty new. He's got a lot of enthusiasm for the job, but he's without Ash around to ask questions of him, he simply decides, well, I don't see the harm, really. Of course, if you want to spread the good word of Lyra, much as our great master Ash Dieback has, then please do take a snow globe for yourself.
Can
Thank you,
I
good
offered him a
sir.
good berry in resonance with the goodness.
Sorry, what do you say that again?
I offered him a good berry in resonance with the goodness of Lyra.
He takes the good berry and he smiles at you. He's like, "Oh, this looks nice." And
It's good.
oh, okay. And he eats it and chews it for a minute. He's like, "Yeah, this is pretty nice. Yeah, I don't think I've had one of these
Yeah, it's
before.
called a good berry.
It's aptly named then. It's pretty good."
It's good.
Don't ask him how he makes them.
He makes them.
I acquired them through means of goodness.
He's looking at you a little less sure now. I
I
mean,
pray
they
to the
were
great
pretty good.
gods of the good berry, and the good appears.
Well, there are many fantastical things in this world, such as Lyra, so I imagine maybe there is a god of the good berries. That totally makes sense. I'll have to ask Master Dieback about that.
Good.
So, who's this dieback guy?
He says, "Oh, the great Ash Dieback, the legendary cleric of Lyra, of course. He travelled the lands and righted many wrongs and took down evildoers everywhere alongside his best friend, Jorn Dondergod, and some other people that he mentions occasionally. But most importantly, he brought the word of Lyra and joy to people and made sure that people weren't evil."
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. And unfortunately, he is unavailable right now.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go to the part of the conversation where you tell me where I can put the cart?
It says, "Why, of course, if you are planning to stay right here, I will happily tie your cart off on one of these columns here."
Oh, cool.
And he just reaches over and, like, hitches the cart for a column right next to the cart.
Well,
So please remember to
Mission
feed the
successful.
horses.
yeah. Would you feed the horses for us, please?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. We don't have any feed. We don't travel much. We have no need of much livestock.
Okay.
We have... As you interrupt him, he just stops talking.
Okay. I get off the cart and just go to the back of the cart where we stored the feed and get some out and give it to the horses. Just like whilst this guy has just been interrupted, just like standing there, just like completely ignoring him.
He looks to the rest of the cart, to curious of the travellers that have joined him. A few other clerics and monks are also sort of congregating now that they've finished their meditations or prayer, and they're all intrigued to see who or what has entered the temple.
Hi.
I will pull my hood up.
I'll
One of them
introduce
sees
Can I-
Oscar say hi, and he waves back, like all happy grins.
Can I wave like the queen from the top of the cart and be like, "Hi, mortals, hi."
So the first cleric that was speaking with Gershaw, he continues to ask a few questions, curious himself to know more about the new travellers. So how do you know John?
Who's he speaking to?
He's speaking to Gershaw.
boss.
Oh.
Although everyone can hear, because it's not like there's a huge amount of space between Gershaw and everyone else. So when Oscar
come
shouts back about the boss comment, he nods, sort of impressed, like, "Oh, you're the, what do they call you, the 11?"
Something like that.
I stopped like halfway pouring into Esquire's feedback, just being like, nah.
No, I'm sure it was something like that. The 11,
The Snevin.
oh, what's a Snevin?
It's a long story.
Well, I should love to hear it. Are you planning to stay for long?
I mean, it depends how long those guys are going to be there, pointing towards Jorn and stuff.
And he looks over and he's like, "I've no idea really, but can I do join us? Could I get you a cup of tea?"
Okay, have I done feeding the horses now out of character?
Yeah, you've fed the horses.
Okay. So I'm just gonna be like, I'm terribly sorry, good sir, but I'm going to partake in conversation with my fellow comrades, and then I turn out to everyone in the cart. Guys, gotta talk to Jordan, please. And then immediately start walking that way.
You're like pretty much hitched next to that like stone building, essentially, inside this temple. It's like everyone in the cart can see through towards John and Vetus at this point. That's how close you all are.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Solgra.
I would like to get out of the cart, approach the clericy looking guy, give him a silver piece, and apologise for M.
Excuse me?
Before he reaches to take the piece from you, he asks you, "Are you evil?"
Do you need healing?
He accepts the silver coin.
And I would also like to say, I would love to hear about Lyra, but we have other things to do right now. Maybe we can come back.
Of course, do come back and hear the good word of Lyra.
And then I will follow.
And maybe we can talk about more good things together. You know, those good berries. It seemed like you liked them a lot. I like them too. We can talk about all good things, Lyra and good berries.
And he tries to like take Shareed by the arm and sort of turn away and start walking and talking. And he's like, "Of course, I think that Lyra would be really interested in the good berry. I see a lot of potential for joy in the good berry." And you're slowly pacing away from the rest of the party as he talks.
Yes. I'm happily following along with them, nodding. Yes, it's good.
So you engage in conversation. So this entire time you're just going to end up walking like around the temple now. Like it's too late for Shareed. Shareed is now having a tour of the temple at Goodton.
Do I see this happening?
You already went to walk
Oh,
towards.
okay.
Yeah, the only people that have seen this happen are anyone that stuck around the cart long enough to see Shareed engage in conversation, then walk in the opposite direction with this chap.
I want to leave the cart too, after like the initial commotion has died down a bit. And I want to pull up my cloak, only to realize that it no longer actually fits. I kind of, pull up at the neck as I try to wedge it over the big old horns. Just pull it down again and make my way inwards. Slightly saddened that I'm going to have to extend the cloak or poke holes into it or something.
So is everyone else getting out the cart as well?
Yeah, I want to backflip at the cart.
You do so with the precision of which only Fanny Boss can achieve.
And then cartwheel.
It's a difficult maneuver, but you pull it off with such divine grace that it's almost looks impossible for a dwarf to pull off.
There you go.
Can I jump down from the cart and attempt to do the same exact thing that Fanny Boss did?
You're gonna attempt to copy everything Fanny Boss just did.
Yes.
Okay, roll an acrobatics check.
Almost break my neck. Em is dead. 10.
You don't hurt yourself, but you definitely don't pull off the same level of like athletic maneuver right there. Fanny Boss, if you see it, you'd be willing to give it like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Like you've seen better, but you're pretty impressed that someone managed to like just copy you like on the fly.
Can I just go look at him and I'm like, bruh.
I look from the floor and I'm like, bruh.
I reckon I could do better. I'm gonna try it.
You were inside the car, right?
TPK.
Yes.
TPK today because we're just rolling on
I
the
climb
floor.
onto the top of the cart just to try it.
Okay, roll an acrobatics check for me.
16.
You do a fairly good
What's
job.
that roll?
That's using Avery like linked to the character,
Oh.
Yeah.
which only Oscar and Caporius have got set up, and
I don't actually
more
have the
into
new
that.
character yet, but I will.
Yeah.
Will be making work of that.
A 16 is a good effort. I mean, it's never going to match the elegance of which Fanny Boss demonstrated moments ago, but it's a good replica of his technique.
Can I bra at Oscar?
You don't have to ask me if you can do that. You can just bra.
Bra.
Ah,
At this point,
that's
you
our
have
new Alvin
drawn.
breathing.
You have drawn the attention now of John and Vitus, who are just sort of looking at you as they sat down, watching first the usual antics of Fanny Boss, which they've come to, it's become commonplace to see, but they're still just a little bit impressed every time they see him do it, and then more shocked as Em and Oscar attempt to replicate his acrobatic feats.
Can't take us anywhere.
It does seem to put a smile on both John and Vitus' face, though, to see to see the ridiculous antics again.
Bruh.
I wanted to roll for acrobatics. I've never used it.
So, I go and sit down by John and Vetus.
So they both kind of just look at you for a moment. A little bit in silence. John takes a long sip from his mead as they just sort of stare at you.
So, something, well, lots of things have happened between Coanga and here. We might want to talk about it.
And John nods, still taking a very long sip, as Vetus looks at you and then to the rest of the party and says, "And where is Caporius?"
He's right there. That's a thing as well.
Walk up. Hi, Vetus. Jordan.
It takes both of them a few moments to just sort of comprehend how different you look now. And Sirenscape hasn't crashed, but I need to get a different soundscape because this is not reliable. So as I'm fixing Sirenscape, John and Vetus spend a while just staring at Caporius, not quite sure what to make of the change now in the demeanor and also in some of the physical aspects of Caporius. Vetus is the first one to sort of break the silence as he finally asks you, "Did you do something with your hair?"
You could call it that. We should probably talk about this.
I imagine so.
But maybe not quite yet. Maybe a moment of peace later on.
Mind giving me the footnotes?
I died. And Bahamut brought me back.
Well. And John
What's the
sort of,
footnotes?
John like chokes on his mead for a second, and you say that you died. It's taken them a moment to sort of figure out what they think about all this. It's unusual to say the least. And also
I
that
mean, I
music is way too
literally
loud.
checked his cold corpse. Wasn't cold, actually. It was still pretty warm. But you get it. His chest was ripped open, and yeah.
He got kaput.
You can sort of see the gears working behind the eyes of John as finally he asks Caporius, "And now you're alive. How?"
It would seem that way. In total honesty, I'm not quite sure how. Well, we were fighting as adventurers tend to do, I suppose, and I remember a lot of things moving very quickly, very suddenly, and stopping to move equally suddenly. And then, with the arrival of a bright light, beginning to move equally suddenly once again. There's not much more that I remember.
And you see John and Vetus exchange a glance. And Vetus just says to John, "I told you so." To which John says, "I didn't think he'd die." And then they both look at you and say, We Vitus specifically says, We have more news for you, Caporius. I
will be happy to hear it.
You might want to sit down.
Sits down.
And Vitus takes a letter from his inner pocket and slides it across the table towards Caporius. Caporius, as you look down at this letter, as Vitus removes his hand, you see the telltale wax seal of the bloodline of Kerhar. You know it specifically to be not the current insignia used by the Carolan family, but the ancient sigil of the founding of Kerhar. You know instantly who this is from.
I take the letter and pocket it.
John gives you a long glance and says, We've had some reports from Fort Dondergod. It's not looking good.
Can you elaborate?
And he says, We will, but this is looking to be somewhat larger than just a Caporius issue right now. Where is Sharid? As he looks at the rest of the gathered party.
I saw him walk off with one of the local monks. I assumed he was going off to create some berries, but it's been a little while, I suppose.
And Vitus is the one to be next. He tells the party, Well, I think you'd all better get comfortable, as I don't want to repeat this, and I'd much sooner tell all of you at the same time. So, grab a seat, grab a drink, and we'll wait for Sharid, assuming he's coming back.
Before we get started, I've got some, well, I think we've all experienced something new recently. You know the risk?
Certainly.
Big one. Real big one.
Would you care to elaborate?
It can teleport, and it's like, his tail itself is like 10 foot long.
It is the last thing I saw before.
Yeah, it fucking killed him.
Got mind tricks. Like the tentacles things.
I believe I know the creature that you're speaking of. Turns out, much to my own shock and surprise, Master Dieback has a extensive library containing many volumes he didn't even know he had himself. Quite valuable information, really. I'm shocked I didn't come to Goodton sooner. And so you can see that there's some frustration playing on Vitus's face. I've uncovered a whole cornucopia of information regarding the risk that has been documented. Apparently, in this specific library, in this specific temple, and the owner didn't even know. And you can see him sort of give in to his frustrations and just sulk a little bit on the table. Yes, Solver?
Was there anything relating to the realm of the Riss?
And you see the normally calm composure of Vitus just snap a little bit as he throws open several notebooks on the table and says, The realm of the Riss, I have diagrams of multiple Riss in detail. I don't know where he found them. He doesn't know where he found them. No one knows where he found them. And you can see him just start to mentally break a little bit. I spent months on this research, and Ash Dieback of all people has a library dedicated to these creatures.
Vetus, can we
sorry.
look at those?
Em's got the hand up.
Vitus.
Oh.
But are you evil?
He takes a deep breath. No, I am not. And this is the first time you've really seen Vetus drink as he takes a cup larger than the one John has and begins to down the mead within.
We know so far about the realm of the Riss.
And to this he gets a little more serious and calms himself and says, I don't have specific details yet. You wouldn't believe the amount of information I'll have to go through. I have scattered descriptions, I have diagrams of specific specimens, I have locations of potential hives, but I do not know the name or where, specifically within the realms, their home plane, as you might call it, would currently reside. But I have some descriptions if you'd like those, and you can see that he's just now a little bit drunk.
I don't know where it resides, but I've been there.
And you are met with dumbfounded, stone-faced shock. I'm sorry, what?
The same time that Corporeus was killed, I was shifted into another plane of existence. And the ones that we have fought are small fry compared to what is in there.
Now, Solgra, do not think me insensitive, but how are you alive?
Bahamut brought me back.
With this, Vetus just gets up from his chair and just walks away from the group for a moment. You can see him just sort of hanging his head as he paces back and forth near the wall. Yes, Gershaw?
Vetus.
He turns quickly to look at you with a frustrated look in his eyes. And he just responds with, what?
Can I have a look at your notebook about the Riss? I think it would help us tremendously. And do you want another mead?
He just sort of waves his hand towards the table and says, yes, go ahead. Read the notes. I've got some copies. I was meant to wait for Sharid, but I guess he's too busy gallivanting about with the local monks.
I was gonna take the notebook and just like slide it over really slowly in front of me and then just like...
So looking down at the notebook, you can see the page that Vetus has left it open. You can see a intricate diagram of a Riss, but much larger than a Slayer. It doesn't look the same as the one you fought. It doesn't appear to be the Riss Githlar. But instead, all the writing, by the way, completely in runes. The same runic language that was on the obelisks. So, currently, without having spent time with the key, you can't read it. But you can see that there have been portions translated using the key. One of which is the name of this creature in the diagram, which just reads Riss Praetorian.
Is this the one that I saw? Well, the two that I saw within.
Yes, this matches the. This is an accurate diagram of a Riss Praetorian, of which you have seen two.
So I would like to point at them and say, this is what I saw in there, as well as a much larger Riss.
And Vetus rushes back over to the table as you say that and looks down and says, you saw two of these.
Yes.
This one, this thing here on this page. You saw this.
Yes. And also one the size of a dragon.
To which he takes the notebook back from Gershaw and begins to flip through the pages until he places it on the table in front of you in sort of a portrait orientation. And across 2 pages is a diagram showing in detail with various notations pointed to parts of its body. The title across the top, roughly translated into the words Rhys Matriarch. And he points at this diagram and says, "This. You saw this."
Yes.
I'm just gonna stand up from the table and go to the bar.
And how, again, pray tell, are you alive, Solgra? You're telling me Bahamut brought you back from some extraplanar dimensional home of the Rhys because he felt like it?
All I can tell you is that I was in there for 20 minutes trying to figure out how the hell I got there and how the hell I get back out before I got thrown back into the land of Edus.
And he thinks, as you're talking about it, he begins to leaf through his notebook, turning pages which have very intricate diagrams of not just Rhys, but also not just Rhys and Rhys hybrids, but also locations and other various Rhys encyclopedic knowledge, until he gets to a page that he opens out and shows you. It's the pages fold out. It covers 4 or 5 pages worth of diagrams and paragraphs and notations, and you see that in the center of all of these diagrams is a sketch of what looks like a cave antechamber. And you can see sketched in this antechamber that there are runes actually inscribed on the walls, which have been left untranslated as of the moment. And he says to you, Soldier, "Did you see anything that looked like this?"
Did I think that looks like that? I'm reading the I'm reading what you sent me, and I'm just like, yes, I did.
And he thinks for a moment and says, "I have only done partial translations of this text thus far. I don't believe that this here, the rooms that exist like these, are native to their own plane. I'm not certain you ever left this plane, Solgra, if you saw this." And he flicks further a few pages, and you see a diagram of what looks like a hellscape. Just craggy rocks and lightning from clouds in the sky with what looks to be oceans. And he says, "This is what I believe is the actual plane of the Rhys, as far as the notes that I have so far. You may not have left this plane."
Then where was I?
"I would very much like to know that if you have seen an active matriarch with Praetorians. From what I've gathered, that signifies a fairly active and advanced hive. It may be anywhere in Edus."
I stand up, walk to the corner and open my letter. We'll discuss them.
Yes, you begin reading the letter.
I return back from the bar with 9 of the strongest thing I could order.
The barkeep, who's not really a barkeep, as it is not really a traditional tavern, has definitely swindled you out of a bit of gold there.
Well,
As you bring it back to the table and sit down, John looks up at you and says, Where did you get that?
over there.
Then he looks up to see no one. And says, This is a sort of bring your own mead type situation here at Goodton.
We have this now. Don't ask any questions.
And he stops asking questions and he grabs one and downs it immediately. Clearly no longer taking cautious sips.
Cool. And then I make sure everyone else gets one.
Yes, yes.
And then I also say to Solgra, like, so how fucked are we?
Well, if Vetus is panicking and I see a big bloody wrist the size of a dragon, I think we're pretty fucked.
Cool. Just wanted to confirm that, yeah. Just start drinking.
So, John speaks up now. And, he's still clearly deep in thought about plans. But he does say to the party, Well, I believe we have several locations of potential hives. Maybe it's time we started doing something about that.
I'd be down for that. Yeah, let's go towards the wrist the size of a dragon.
You're not scared, are you?
Well, I mean, we fought one that was like maybe a quarter of the size of a dragon and nearly died. So it's not scared if it's like even I'm dumb and I know that's not a good idea right now. I mean, I'm willing to do it, but I'm gonna need a lot of floor for this, you know.
John thinks for a moment before saying, What if I told you that they were under the floor? Meaning it's like floor plus.
Guys are going. I need that floor.
Solgar catches John like smiling smugly to himself as he leans back in his chair, saying that.
I'm just gonna shake my head.
Alright guys, we are good to go. Who's ready to go? Get some of that flop. I mean, kill the rest.
Can we not just stay here and chill for a bit? I want to read those books and chill. Smoke, chill.
So as,
Smoke and chill and then get some flop. I mean, kill the rest.
as the party decides to smoke and chill and relax for a moment, Vetus stands up, leaving his notebook with Solgra, and he walks over towards Caporius, who is reading the letter, and he places his hand on Caporius' shoulder and just says solemnly, I understand if you'd prefer to head home, as it were. I can transport you and whomever might join you back to Fort Dondegard for a while.
Lying to you, I don't want to go home, particularly. But this I did not expect. You said that this situation was dire.
He says, yes, you deserve to hear the reports we've been hearing, but they also pertain to or perhaps pertain to the Riss as well. I'd like for Cherie to join us before I inform the party of the rumours we've been hearing. So, as all that's happening, while that's happening, Cherie, we flash over now to Mr. Splits the Party, Cherie, as he is being led arm in arm with this very jovial cleric as they wander the halls of the temple at Goodton. And the cleric is telling Shreed all the interesting things as they pass tapestries and sculptures and small monuments, all made to the goddess Lyra. And eventually, you pass a interesting set of tapestries and sculptures which don't, in fact, depict Lyra herself, but rather depict the story of Ash Dieback and his rise to becoming master of this here temple and his various exploits. Within these tapestries, you also spot the comically powerful form of Jorn Don the God, which is used. Oh,
We lost Russell.
Yeah, he's been frozen for like a minute.
Hit his hand so hard that
He knocked his hand and then just froze.
Perfect that you already have the 6-person minus Russell setup, right?
Oh, hey, yeah, there we go. That works.
Hey!
Oh, he's having
Perfect.
internet issues.
It's cool. We'll have to wait for Funny Boss to get back before we can even do that bit then. But as you're walking through the temple, you are seeing these comically exaggerated depictions of Jorn Don the God. You're not sure how exaggerated they might have been because they look from the prime days of the Order of the Sacred Flame. But you see clearly the figure that's meant to be Ash Dieback, and you've kind of got an idea. Oh, and we swap back to the other camera. We have Russell back now.
I point at Jorn's picture and I say, "Hey, I know him. He's eating some good berries. He's a good guy."
To which the cleric responds, "Yes, he is. He is a good guy. He's a great guy by all accounts. I've never met him myself, but Ash speaks very highly of Mr. Dondergod."
I think you guys would be friends. He's pretty good. You're pretty good. We're all pretty good. Everything's good.
And as you are being led through the temple, you finally reach a large sectioned off room that seems to extend for miles into the mountain going up, and placed in the center of this room, the radius of the room, by the way, is about 30 meters. It's a pretty large circular room. In the center is a raised dais, and on this dais sits a large, what looks to be some sort of stone egg right in the center.
Egg.
Yes.
What is that egg?
To which the cleric leads you in to the room to begin sort of looking closer at the egg. He says, "Oh, this, I don't fully remember. This one, Ash didn't tell me about this one yet. He says something about an order or an accord or something. A Honda? I'm not sure.
The Goodberry Accord?
Could be. Sounds a little familiar.
I pull out the golden Goodberry from my pocket and see if it reacts.
The egg does not react, unfortunately, in any way that you notice.
Can I put a Goodberry on top of it?
As you place the Goodberry on top of this egg, by the way, is about, get the tape measure ready, about 4.5 feet tall.
The egg.
Yeah.
It's a big egg.
It looks like a chicken egg, but like 4.5 feet tall chicken egg. I'm doing measurements now.
That tall.
Yeah, it's a big egg.
And cactus is as tall as me in life, so. Yeah. Thank you, that made my day.
So as you place the goodberry on top of the egg, something happens that you've never actually witnessed before, which is the goodberry sinking into the solid outer layer of this stone egg and vanishing completely with a small green glow.
I look around and squawk a little bit. Is that normal? Am I evil?
And to which the cleric shrugs, I don't, is it not, does that not happen when you put the good berries on eggs? I've never seen them before.
I don't know. I don't normally put good berries on eggs. I pull out a couple more and put more good berries on it.
They all sink into the egg and vanish with a little green glow. And the cleric begins to panic along with you, and as you sort of like, I don't know if that's normal. Did you break it?
I don't know. Wait, turn around for a second.
He immediately spins on his heel and looks away from the egg.
Okay, I hide behind the egg and I use all of my spell slots to produce 40 more good berries.
As you place 40 good berries on the egg, all 40 of them are immediately absorbed.
What does it mean?
The cleric wasn't watching. He's just also panicking now as well. I don't know. What does it mean?
Is there any higher ranking priests?
We don't have ranks. We just hang out with Ash because it's fun, and we like Lyra, and he knows all the things, and he's not here right now. He said something about an accord, and that he was keeping it safe because he'd been asked to, and that's kind of all you need to do with Ash, is just ask nicely.
Can I put the golden goodberry on top of the egg?
It does not react when you put it on top of the egg.
Okay.
In any way that you notice, at least.
Can I roll anything to see if adding more good berries would make anything change?
There's nothing to roll for that. You literally wouldn't know either way.
Well, I'll just eat my remaining good berries on it, I guess.
Again, every time a good berry ends up like touching the egg, it just gets absorbed and it just like vanishes in like a poof of little green magical effects.
And for the last good berry, can I hold the good berry in my hand and like touch the egg?
You feel
it?
You feel a distinct pull as you try and hold the good berry until eventually it fights you until the pull is stronger, like a gravitational pull, stronger than you can hold it, and it goes pump and just vanishes into the egg.
Can I cast gaseous form?
Sure.
And go into the egg?
You can cast gaseous form. You don't know if it would allow you to get into the egg or not.
I'm gonna try it.
So, again, the cleric freaks out. Like, wait a minute. What are you doing? Are you evil?
I don't think so. I thought I was good, but this berry is my berries are gone. It's eating my berries. This
but
must be
why
the
are
egg.
you all like glowy and floaty and not here?
This is a good berry version 3, vapor berry.
Good berry vape, got it. He doesn't know how to respond to that at all. Just what are you doing?
I want to go inside the egg. It took my good berries.
I thought things came out of eggs. You're doing it wrong. Are you doing it wrong? I don't know. I think you're doing it wrong.
I don't know, but there's only one way to find out.
You swarm as gas around the egg, and shoop, you are pulled inside. You
see anything?
You do not see anything. In fact, for 15 minutes, you are gone from this realm. The cleric is panicking more and more. He's pacing now, freaking out, like, birds come out of eggs. They don't go into eggs. They come out of eggs. This is backwards. Ash, what will Ash think if I let a bird go into the egg? And after 15 minutes, suddenly your form, corporeal, appears in front of the monk. You sort of like fired out of the egg without breaking the egg or anything. Just sort of like a magical portal just poof, just throws you back out and onto the ground in front of the egg. And while you were in the egg, you will have seen various visions of other races. The one that stands out to you is one that you've seen before, a particular person you've seen before in the form of the Total Arm. You do not recognize the location that you saw Arm, though you can guess from descriptions that he is somewhere in the northern territories of this continent.
Okay.
You are specifically able to remember a temple with a crooked spire. An arm stood out front. It looks like a small sort of rundown temple that you're imagining. It's made of mostly wood, and again, the signifying, like the distinctive feature it has is that the spire of this temple is crooked.
I cough a little bit, and
the cleric looks at you and at the egg and says, How did you get out? How did you get in? How did you get out? How?
I put my hands together and I look very devout and I say, I think it was a force of good.
The cleric sees that you're not panicking anymore, and it makes him sort of bring it down a notch, and he says, that's good, I guess? I think?
It's good.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. We good? Is it good? Is everything good? Not evil.
Think we're good. Not evil.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think maybe we should end the tour. Maybe. That's a lot. That everything just now. That's a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and he starts to lead you out of this chamber of the temple and back towards where you started. So in total, you're gone for about an hour before you get back to the rest of the party.
Okay.
And the cleric sort of sees you off. He says, I think I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm just gonna go to bed. I think yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'm just gonna go to bed and call it a day. It was absolutely lovely meeting you.
Me.
I will most certainly mention you to Master Dieback. You were... Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name is Shanlead.
Can I call you Sharid?
You can call me for short if you want.
I prefer the second half. I'm not sure I can say that.
It's not hard. Yeah, here, it's easy. All you have to do is go like...
No, can't do it. I'll just call you. I'll just call you Shah. Shah. I'll let him know that Shah was here. Anyway, I'm
sure you don't. It's just.
No, I'm sorry. It's all been a bit too much for me. Normally I just sit and pray all day. This has been fantastic, but I must go.
Okay, well it was good to meet you.
It was great to meet you. I will remember this for as long as I live, and I'm going to bed. Thank you. Bye. And he gets
where did that egg come from, by the way?
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, he just mentioned something about an accord, and that he was looking after it, and that was it. He never told me. I'm still learning about Lyra, let alone strange eggs that birds can go in and out of. I'm sorry. I have to go. He just sort of walks away, shaking his head. Just sort of his entire worldview has crumbled today, and he's not quite sure how he's going to cope with life now.
I look very proud of what I've accomplished, and I walk back to the party.
God, I can't wait for you to meet Ash. That's gonna be amazing.
I will convert him to the good berry.
He will convert you to Lyra. It's gonna be a battle of the not wits. So as Sharid finally arrives and joins the rest of the party, who have been slowly working their way through the drinks that Gershaw somehow procured and no one has asked any questions, and having a bit of a relax. Yes. Vetus looks up at Sharid as you enter, and he says to you, "Where do I even want to know?"
I think you do. I met some Lyra people. They were very good. I found a giant goodberry egg, and I fed it goodberries, and it absorbed me inside of it and showed me a turtle, and then I left it, and then I'm here.
So in Vetus's mind, as you're saying this, it's kind of like when a child just tells you a story that's mostly bullshit. It's just rambling. He's just not. Yeah. That does sound fantastic. I'm glad you had a great time. Such a fantastic story. Please take a seat. You must be tired. Please sit down and join the party.
For the first time ever, I used all of my good berries. That egg was very hungry. And I sit down.
These words just have no meaning for Vetus right now.
I passed the other drink that I was saving to Sharid. I mean,
I take it.
Roll a perception check.
Me?
No, Gershaw. Roll a perception check before you pass that drink off.
I have to identify wounds. Right. Fucking, if I don't spot anything, I don't.
Oh my.
So you spot it, not quick enough, but you spot it. This is within the last hour or so. So about 2 minutes after you're sat down with that beverage, John has constructed a very large, intricate bendy straw. And he has been slowly moving it closer and closer to the drink that you are saving for Sharid. And he's managed to drink about a quarter of the glass before you spot him and stop him from doing it. So when you pass it off to Sharid, you're going to have a slightly less full tankard to drink from. It's fine though. John uses straw. There's no cross-contamination there.
I'm sorry, John has straw. I do not have straw prevention.
It's okay. I look sagely at the moment, and I put my hands together, and I say, "All is good. I met the goodberry egg."
To which John nudges Gershaw and says, "I told you wouldn't mind."
You didn't tell me anything.
I meant to. I was thinking it very loudly.
This entire time. That's literally this entire trip. You told me nothing.
I mean, I've been thinking it very loudly in your general direction. If you can't pick, that's not my fault.
Fair enough. You heard him, Flo. You heard him.
Fetus, who is kind of sick of everything right now, including his own existence.
Big mood.
Yeah, Vetus is mood today. He stands up in front of the entire party and he begins to open up very large pieces of parchment, poster-sized even, with just maps and information and diagrams of all kinds. And he says, "Excellent. Now that everyone is finally here, I have news. It's not good news, but it's news, which is better than you had 5 seconds ago. This," and as he lays out this this map, you can see is familiar to one of you. This is the Kerhar Peninsula. We have reason to believe there may be potentially an active hive somewhere below the city. We are unfortunately unable to confirm any of these rumours and reports, as our guardsmen, our people, our allies, I should say, are no longer permitted entry into the peninsula at all, let alone the city. They seem to have gone into some form of lockdown. They are no longer allowing any people, dragonborn or otherwise, into the peninsula, and as far as we can tell, they are refusing to let any of their own people leave. I believe it would be in the best interests of our mission to eradicate the Riss to side with one of our own allies in liberating the peninsula and determining the veracity of the claims an active hive sits below the city.
Okay, we've heard the news now. Can we have the Louis Hewis, please?
There is no Louis Hewis. Only news, and it is bad. The good news, or I suppose the Huey Lewis if you want, is you'll be paid, as you have been with everything that you've done so far. I shouldn't have to keep telling you this.
Louis Hewis to me. Yay.
Oh.
How long has this been going on? This state.
The lockdown was enacted 3 nights ago. Though we believe from our agents inside Kerhar, the active hive may have been active for several months now, which would have been prior to your leaving Kerhar.
Surely we're like essential workers.
Sorry, what?
How'd you-
Everyone, as far as Kerhar is concerned, everyone is an essential worker and they will work.
Right.
Where did you get this letter?
One of our allies brought it to my assistant at Fort Dondergod in search of Jorn, not aware that we had embarked on this quest to the continent. Luckily, I was able to have it sent directly to me via my assistant's magic. I have not read the contents, Corporeus, I assure you, though from everything else that we have heard, I cannot imagine it to be good news.
At this point, have I opened it?
Yeah, you were reading it in the corner.
Cool.
For your eyes only.
Escaped the crash.
I just decided I didn't like that song anymore.
Understandable.
Fixed it.
But it wasn't just on my side.
No, I was here too.
Yeah, I just stopped for a second.
The music keeps
What is
stopping.
that? Rustling and slimy noises.
That specific rustling, I believe, is called calligraphy.
Oh.
The monks are, in fact, writing things. It just doesn't want to play that track anymore. It keeps stopping. Anyway,
I have another one.
we're in a far more tense situation now, so maybe that requires a change of music. As we go
It was
over.
nice to have the chilled one for a change.
I mean, we're not going into anything, super dreadful.
Yet.
I mean, we got told about big wrists, and now there's talk of a big hive.
That's problem for the futurists and Nevin.
It's not really though. It's actually very much not though.
What do you mean?
I I think I have to go home.
Like now?
Like
You just
ye-
died, bro.
like yesterday.
I don't
No,
want
that
to
was the
ask
day.
what was in the letter, but if you need a hand, I'm willing to help out.
I'm more than happy to come with you. You helped me with my past, so I'll help you with yours.
The good berry said that you were good.
I have no idea what we'd be walking into.
Have we known about
be bad.
anything we're walking to any time at all? And if you say you did, remember you
I
stepped
don't-
out of that tent.
I don't suppose you have, Gershaw, but I have some inkling here. I have some, let's call it experience by lack of a better word.
Vitus looks at you, Caporius, and he asks, as he gestures to the rest of the party, Caporius, how much do they know?
Not much. Then again, I'm still finding out things to this day, it seems. Things that I was not expecting to learn, but
And
not much.
Vitus says, I don't wish to make your personal business public, but I think it's in the best interests of everyone here if you're attempting to enter the peninsula. Your father has conscripted every able-bodied dragonborn in the city into a makeshift army. The borders and port on all sides are guarded day and night. Our agents tell us they once witnessed a family attempting to leave the peninsula and escape to Orraven, and they were brutally murdered before they could make it past the fields. I'm not sure what you'll be walking into, but I imagine it will be no easy task.
That's what I had thought had happened to Astoria. Upon leaving.
I'm
Your father.
not sure what you read in that letter, Caporius, but I have it on good authority from a close friend of mine that Astoria lives to this day.
My father, is the person in charge of the peninsula and city of Kurhar. He's the reigning, whatever he calls himself these days. Not what it used to be.
Bad.
He's, yeah, he is.
John pipes up from his chair, as you mentioned that you're not sure what he calls himself anymore, or at least his title, and John interrupts you with a arrogant whelp, going around calling himself war chief these days. Of what war and chief of what army I don't know, but I never thought him fit to rule in the first place, and goes back to drinking.
That's, yeah, that. I suppose it is time that I share with you some of who I actually am. I am supposed to be the next, or rather I was supposed be the next in line. Ruler of Gerhar. I was brought up under that pretense. Or, well, it wasn't a pretense when I was brought up. It was real life. My life was limited to the palace walls. Homeschooling, home training. All with a very, very clear goal in mind. However, this was back when Arandur was alive, of course. Things have not been good for many years now. The city does well from looking from the outside in, but things have not been good. And I suppose younger me caught wind of it, and they were not happy with that. My father decided that I rather, was no longer of able mind to rule. I had been corrupted with the idea that, well, with not the idea at all, called Dragonborn are above other Dragonborn, above other races regardless. And well, the night I left Gerhard, Astoria had got wind of well, something I never considered to be possible, but alas it was. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't stand here in the first place. Probably wouldn't even have made it out of my bedroom that night. But I did, and we did. And we attempted to escape the city. And, well, I did, as you can see. She did not. Last I saw, she was overrun by the guards. I wouldn't have made it here if it wasn't for her. And, well, given the way things have been for years now, I didn't imagine her to still be alive at this point. But there she is. Waves the letter.
How long ago was this?
How long have we been traveling? Few months?
Calculating.
3 weeks?
Session 1 would have taken place in game about a month and a half ago.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so maybe a week or two before that at most.
Yeah, it's been about 2.5 months then since the events.
Some months have transpired. I hope you forgive me for keeping my cards close to my chest, as it were. My main goal has been to very much keep a low profile, which has worked out to some degrees, but not all. But I believe that they are still looking for me. Well, I now have confirmation in written form that they are in fact still looking for me.
And as you mentioned that, John throws 2 signet rings on the table in front of himself, which Caporius will recognize as the mark of an imperial guard of Kerhar. And he says, they came looking for you. Rest assured, we're not sending you back there without help. We have a very powerful ally who will be awaiting your arrival should you choose to return. You will find him in the halfway village of Masonworth. He plans to wait there for a few days for you before continuing his current efforts to seize Kurha. Though I wouldn't underestimate him, and as he nods at the signet rings, that wasn't my doing. That was his.
I would be grateful for any ally in this. This is... well, to put it in perspective, we'd be walking into a city, into a well-guarded fortress of a city,
John
where
gives you
apparently an army has been built up.
John gives you a wry grin at this point, now thinking about battles. He says, "Oh, you'll have more than just the one ally when you head back there. I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised at the support we've managed to gain on this front."
That too I am glad to hear.
And with that, I think we're going to take a break. So let me just move over to the Be Right Back screen. There we go. This should all still work, so you can go ahead and do the drop, and I might also change this music so it's not quite as serious mode for the break. No worries. Where's my non-bleak music? Oh yeah, I don't have non-bleak music. That'll do. Oh, only my microphone is available on this view. Why did that not import everything? I've moved over to OBS. Let me add more things. There we go. Now we have the non-bleak music in the background too. I'll do a quick drop with Geeks Died.
I'm gonna drop with Craigasm because it's been a while since I used that.
It gives me time to turn my fan on because it's too warm in here and have beverage.
Oh mate, I am gonna open a cider.
Who expected to have this much backstory in one session?
Oh! The Craigasm pulls through.
Oh no. Geeks Bad is not doing well.
Oh man.
But how is everybody in chat? I see a bunch of people in chat hanging out. Sergeant Nut, what up? Barack, what up? Also, I like Barack your reasoning that the campaign's been going for roughly 7 weeks.
Nice. Very good.
Also, Birchie, you need to stop trying to make me laugh because I keep looking over and seeing your comments occasionally, and I almost died. Especially the Honda Accord stuff and the Toyota Prius in the back room. Also, shout out to Martos. How's it going, man? And Shanak. I see Tab was in chat at one point. Hope we've not skipped anybody. Hope you're all having a good time following along tonight. I've been kind of excited for this session for a while because we get to do some cool new backstory stuff. And anyone that was in the one shot, you might hear some familiar locations described in the near future. Me, Martes, I'm good. I'm pretty good. I'm recuperating from having to go back to work and write D&D at the same time.
Recuperating as if that's not an ongoing.
Yeah, I'm always in a state of recuperation daily.
It's a cycle, isn't it?
Very much so. And I'm feeling pretty glad that the stream is playing nice today, although we have moved over to OBS rather than Streamlabs, so if something isn't quite right or off about it, I'm going to try and fix things. I should have probably spent more time testing this than just trusting it to work right.
I'd be more worried about that if you move the other way.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot something. Oh, give me a moment. Pretty, you'll like this.
Ooh. Oh, Capo landed that coin. Let's drop another Geek's Bed. That terrible, terrible piece of paint. I need to do the thing. I haven't had to do the thing. There's not been any new followers in forever, so let me see if I remember how to do the thing. That was Bahamut Dragon God. Your entry has been logged in the Geeks Codex, and your name will go down in the annals of history as a geek, freak, and nerd just like the rest of us. Thank you so much for the follow.
I'm following now.
Yes, he is. Do I just read out all of Bahamut's messages in the voice?
Sup, models? I like trains.
Oh my god, Bahamut, I didn't realize you had a Twitch account now. So good to see you following. Okay.
Sorry, that song is not in my song list. Sorry, Kappa. Pog.
Oh. God bless you. That's amazing.
Oh, there's another
Bahamut bless you.
Bahamut bless you.
Bless me.
God bless you.
God bless you.
We got Bahamut in chat, so apparently I've got to read out his lines in the voice now. That's what you missed, Charles.
Cool.
I love the amount of joke accounts that get set up that just rock along to the sessions. We've had Bahamut Dragon God, we've had Bone Daddy, we've had Bucky. I think we've got a Fanny Boss and a Gershaw account as well floating around there.
There's also an Oscar.
Is there? Oh, there is an Oscar. Yeah, I'm not seeing
I
the
don't know
Oscar
that-
well.
Yeah, Oscar the Bard, I think. I don't know the classic Bard.
Oh, sorry. I gotta say some more things for Bahamut. Here we go.
Welcome back, Charles. Next time, go pee before the session starts.
No. Oh, when I want to pee.
Saga and M don't have joke accounts because everyone's too terrified to do it.
Well, I set up my own Gershel one so no one can take it.
I kind of like that we can do the joke Bahamut stuff like in the break, because this is the stuff that happens outside the session, so only you guys ever hear the joke Bahamut stuff and never anyone in the audience. Bahamut leads a double life, guys. He's part meme lord, part dragon god, depending on whether or not we're in session or out of session.
What did Bahamut do this time?
Bahamut followed.
Aww, cute.
And so we decided I have to read all of his lines out in chat.
He also impersonated Jessica.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare.
I don't know, I think it was good. I'm going to have to... I need to clip that off the pod at some point.
I just lost my freaking Firefox. It just disappeared.
No.
That's what you get for using Firefox.
I mean, I have a different browser for each of my alt accounts. Sue me.
What do you mean alt accounts? That's Bahamut's own account.
Sorry for... Yeah, but like, you know, Bahamut and I are homies now, so it's different.
Is one of them Bone Daddy get over here, maybe?
What?
What?
No. I don't know about that. What?
You know what would be interesting is if Bone Daddy Get Over Here actually showed up during a session so we could prove it was none of us.
And now we're all here waiting, looking at chat.
Sorry, bear with. I must do the thing.
Bone Daddy, expose yourself.
Get over here.
That's very forward. I think you should probably buy him dinner.
I love the animal crackers on Shree's camera.
I'm eating.
I just commit mukbang, I don't care anymore.
I'm so tired after the workout.
You get
Like,
Hmm?
you
You
get
got
used to, you get used to working out after a while if you're gonna do it consistently. Not
Oh,
like
yeah.
what Carl is doing right now.
You know, if you exercise like a regular human being, and not someone that wants to be the next John Cena.
Hey,
It's not working, Charles. I can still see you.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
Oh, man.
got Belvira in me there.
LV hair. Sorry. Convert this.
I'm shaving that bit for Luca.
Just whip it round.
I'm disappointed that Bone Daddy hasn't appeared in chat, honestly.
means that it's one of us.
I'd log into that account if I could. But unfortunately it is not mine.
Well, if only someone had the details of that account. Or was able to log in the past. I wonder who it could be if you've logged in as the account and messaged somebody in the group with the account. Hmm.
I don't know who would do that.
Hmm.
You can't prove anything.
Oh, hey, what up, funny boss? I mean, that's great. All these alt accounts are definitely boosting my stats.
That's why we really do it.
It's like 6
I was
people watching
showing-
us and like 19 alt accounts logged in.
I was showing one of our clips to my mom the other day, just to like explain to her what this whole thing is. And she looked at Fanny Boss's name and was like, did that guy lose a bet?
What clip did you show?
I don't remember. I think it might have been even just like King of the... I just wanted to show her this.
Because we've got some excellent clips, because we actually were watching a few of them the other day, just for the lulz. There's one from, was it last session, or the session before? No, session before last, where I mentioned the size of the ruby that came out of Damaris' skull. And if you watch that clip, you can see me describe, like, the ruby, and then the size of the ruby. You just see, first off, Schlee's eyebrow raise quickly, and then M grabbed the tape measure and started measuring it out, and then Schlee's reaction to the tape measure. It's honestly my favourite clip right now.
Hey, that is now a BTTV emote on my channel. After M Tiny, we've got M Live. We were doing D&D and Couple was making my emotes in the meantime.
Good multitasker when it comes to stupid memes, what can I say?
Kneel before your superior dropper mortals!
There you go, Bahamut.
Clap, Bahamut.
Do I say that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, is everybody mostly finished breaking and eating, apart from Shreed with his animal crackers?
Oh, by the way, apologies for this also.
Bon.
Did you make another
slide
email?
into your No. Would never.
Oh my god.
The saga continues. I'll put it in random as well.
In chat or
Oh
something.
yes, I'll do that.
I can't rightly start the episode again until I've seen this. I don't want it to appear on the screen yet.
Is it party chat we should put in?
Oh, that is perfect. I'm gonna return to game with that.
Oh
on
my
screen.
fucking god.
Alright, I'm bringing us back onto the cams. We're going back into game, and everyone's going to see what Capo's posted. There we go. Not leaving that on screen for too long. That's amazing.
What's
There
the
you go.
emo name for that one?
I mean, the file is called M Out of Bounds, but, you know, be creative.
Even bigger, even larger.
What did Russell's status change to?
Let's not say that on stream.
Oh my god.
Just in
Changed
case.
again.
Something went from medium to massive?
Yeah, M massive.
No, you.
Okay, we are returning to game. And oh, if I'd been a better DM, I would have done the Sirenscape thing before transitioning the camera, but instead I'm doing it after. There we go. And so, Caporius has himself something of a personal quest, and the Sneven have decided to assist with that quest. To that end, Vetus reminds the party, Solgro knowing all too well that it's possible, that he can in fact create a portal that will take you back to Fort Dondergod in an instant. It will require that he stays on this continent, as if he goes back with you, there's no way to get back without taking another 3-week voyage across the ocean. So he lays out his plan as best he can for you. So if the Sneven, I believe you're calling yourselves, head back to Fort Dondergod in order to assist with this current Kerhar situation, I will remain here with Jorn as I translate these texts I managed to acquire from Ash. Depending on when you return, we may still be here John and I have decided we will remain in Goodton until Ash finishes his ritual, or whatever it is that he's doing atop the mountain. I believe it will likely take out of universe, probably a month. In universe, maybe several sessions. Maybe a few days in universe of Ash being on top of the mountain. I believe he's doing something he currently describes as working nights. I'm not sure.
Tell him I said hi.
I most certainly will, Shareed, of course.
Tell him I played with his goodberry egg. It was fun. It was good.
He looks perplexed at that. It manages to register the words and says, of course, I will inform him that you, and I quote, played with his egg?
No. Goodberry egg.
Monka-esque.
You good-buried his egg.
Actually, yeah, that works, yes.
Right, I will endeavour to the best of my ability to translate what you've just said to him through me somehow. Good berries and egg. I'll remember that much, I'm sure.
That's the gist of the message, really.
Excellent. And with that, he wastes no time in beginning the ritual to open the portal before the Snevin. The only time he's wasting is in clicking the correct tab in Sirenscape.
Wait, we going now?
I mean...
But like, go and buy a snow globe. Quickly.
It takes a little while for him to actually complete the ritual to open the portal. You've definitely gone and got yourself a snow globe.
Cool.
But we were so close to the lake.
Oh.
We will have our beach episode. We will have our beach episode.
Caparius, is there a beach in Kerrar?
There is a public beach, actually. Yeah, it's been many a year since I've been.
Short answer: yes. There is a beach. There is a beach in Kerhar.
There is a beach. There is a beach. It's been many a year since I've actually been there, but there is a beach.
Do you think your dad will allow us to go to the beach there?
I think if my dad sees you, he will snap your neck. But
I
you can
haven't
ask.
done anything to him. I haven't met him yet.
And so, as Vitus opens the portal before you, you see through to the other side. The portal opens up into a very cozy library, but you can't see much more beyond that point. Solgra, you're very familiar with the room on the other side of the portal. You're the only one who has seen it.
I want to turn to Vitus and say thank you for this. We will attempt to return as soon as possible. And when we do, I would like to talk more.
He nods,
Yeah.
and he says, "Do not worry, Solgra knows how to reopen the portal on the other side. We'll remain here and wait for you, though I suggest you don't take your time in this. I'm not sure how much danger we're all really in."
If that's
You
the
will not
case,
rally.
I just run to the portal and just like cannonball through it.
Make an acrobatics check.
Why is that hot? Anyway.
While this is happening, as he's contemplating throwing himself through the portal, can I just like quickly just put my hand on John's shoulder?
No. Gershor yeets himself through the portal. Oh. Gershor does no such thing as apparently Discord just died, so we'll be right back. Wow. Wow.
Oh, fucking hell.
Gershor yeets himself with such force through the portal, assuming something magical will happen, that not only does he break the fourth wall and break my Discord connection, but he lands flat on his face on a very coarse carpet in the library. Gershor, you take 1 internet damage.
Worth it.
Can I just ask? Sorry, I was just going to say, can I ask John if he's okay before we leave?
John looks up at you and nods. And he says to you in a quiet voice that only you hear. Go and assist Corporeus. I will tell you more of the truth when you return. Promise.
I was just checking in on you, but okay.
He nods and he raises his pint in your direction and downs it, the whole thing, before giving you one last nod.
Okay. I'm going to stroll through the portal because I'm used to them.
Yep, you go through fine. Em?
Can I attempt to backflip through the portal?
Roll an acrobatics check. Preferably one that doesn't kick me off of Discord.
Hey, it was a big can of
26.
Yeah, you backflip like an absolute, like, Olympic gymnast. Straight through the portal, you're fine. You actually land
And while I do that...
you actually land on Gershor's back. Like, your feet dead center, right on Gershor's back. Gershor takes 1 damage.
Good thing I'm light. While I do that, I look dead straight in the eyes at Fanny, but I'm like, bruh.
Bro.
I'd like to, like, Mega Man jump through the portal.
Oh, you don't need an acrobatics check for that. You just do that.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Does
kind
the
of
portal stop momentarily?
yeah, it's kind of amazing as all onlookers on both sides of the portal see that you jump with your arms held high in an interesting pose, as if you're about to shoot something with your hand, and then the portal just sort of moves past you as you land safely on the other side.
I'm just that cool, guys.
It's an interesting glitch in the portal.
Would you say that Osgur gotta run now?
I mean,
Yeah,
very soon.
I was in a hurry.
Alright, so there's Corporeus, Shareed, and Fanny still on this side of the portal.
Do we have a mega plan?
Maybe.
I want to do 3 cartwheels. Front
Yep.
flip, back flip.
I want to move
A
immediately. If
handstand.
Fanny Balls lands on me, I'm gonna
And
die.
I want to furiously breakdance into the portal.
Okay, and do you land on on Gershor?
Let's say yes.
Am I still on Gersha?
Okay, you do it perfectly, no check needed, as per Fanny Boss rules of Homebrew, and Gershor, you take 1 Fanny Boss damage.
Am I still there or have I moved in the meantime?
You've moved and been replaced by Fanny
Okay.
Boss.
Okay.
Boreas takes a moment to contemplate all this and considers walking away, but decides against it. Looks over to Jordan and nods before walking into the portal.
John gives you a
Perfectly
solemn
fucking
nod
normally.
back. Then you just walk straight through the portal.
I see everyone else doing fancy maneuvers, so I want to do an aerial, some kind of very fancy acrobatic flight through the portal.
Okay, and where do you land?
Wherever, wherever's free to land.
Roll an acrobatics check.
18.
It's your choice. You either land on Gershaw or safe of Gershaw.
I'll land on Gershaw and then give him a better berry.
So, Gershaw takes 0 damage as it evens
There's
out.
better berry, don't I heal?
Does he?
The better berries to cure wounds.
I mean,
How much do I heal?
I mean, okay, he's only taken 3 damage.
He heals 5.
Thank you. I'm back up to 55 health.
That's more than you started with.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else jumping on Gersha?
That's
We done?
No.
Everyone is through the portal now.
I stand up and
So-
give everyone who jumped on me the stink eye. But
So the portal
like,
closes
slightly
behind
less-
you, and
Didn't see you there. How long were you there for?
as the portal closes behind Gershaw, behind you is a large mirror, and the rest of the party, as they look at Gershaw, can see his reflection in the mirror. There is a very obvious dwarf-sized boot print on his back. It actually, you don't need to guess whose it is, as Fanny Boss's boots actually have his name sort of written in them in the tread. So it says Fanny Boss along with boot tread on the back of Gershaw now. And
Can I
the
roll a sleight of hand? And just add some extra letters like "was here" to the bottom of it.
yeah, roll sleight of hand against Gershaw's passive perception. What's your passive
No.
perception?
15.
Yeah, no, you're gonna spot him doing, trying to add more letters to your back.
I trusted you.
I was just pushing the dirt off. I was just patting it off. I know, you
Guys, would you
dusty there.
please, please? We have places to go. I have places to go.
And so 6 of you
Maybe
stand
roaming
in
with
a
you.
6 of you stand in an unfamiliar room. You can see that this is a very cozy library. It's got a mahogany desk and large mahogany bookcases sort of situated into the walls all around you. All the texts that are on the table and on the bookshelves, all written in various arcane languages, runes and such from all schools of wizardry, some of which Caporius and Sharid recognize, for they are part of their own particular school of magic, and many others that remain a mystery to you. And Solgr, you are stood in a very familiar room. You know exactly where you are. You know the layout pretty damn well. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. But as the rest of you sort of look confused and look for an exit, Solgr, are you going to go to the exit? Or are you just going to watch the party?
I'm fucking Mike. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go to the exit, kind of like pointedly look at everyone, and then just start yelling Tyblin.
And as you walk towards one of the bookcases and pull a very specific book from the bookcase, the entire bookcase slides open to reveal a young half-elf stood in the doorway who sees Solgr and immediately smiles happily. Like, oh, you're back already.
Yes.
And he sort of
We've
like
got things to-
leans around you and looks at the rest of the party. Oh, you're all back. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And he turns and starts leading Solgra out of the room and down the spiral staircase.
I follow.
Do we know
Everyone,
the half-elf?
this is Tyblin. For the
Oh.
people who don't know him, he's Vitus's assistant.
So as you're walking all like down the spiral staircase and Solgra begins introducing Tyblin for him, he gets very embarrassed. Oh yes, of course. I didn't even think to introduce, but I know so much about all of you, and I just I'm terrified. Yes, as Solgra says, I am Tyblin. I am Vitus's assistant, and yeah, that's what I'm here for. I do things for Vitus so that he could do his job better, and I'm okay at it.
He likes
You're worthy.
squirrels.
He likes what?
You're getting out, shit.
Squirrels.
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 It's at that point that you see a squirrel leap off of one of the rafters nearby the spiral staircase and land on Tyblin's shoulder. And he just sort of like feeds it a little acorn while you're walking downstairs. And then just pats
Right.
its head.
Can I conjure a giant squirrel for him?
Maybe? It does not appear that this... actually, roll an Arcana check for me, Sharid.
14.
That'll be good enough. So you, with your pre-existing magic knowledge, you realize after sort of watching Tyblin and the squirrel for a while that this squirrel isn't a normal squirrel at all, but in fact is actually a magical familiar.
Ooh. Okay. I will leave him alone.
And as you reach the bottom of the spiral staircase and enter into the large hall at Fort Don the God, everyone here is familiar with this hall to some degree, except for maybe Oscar, who probably bypassed this hall entirely when when teleporting over to the other continent. This would be the hall where you first met John and spoke with him some month and a half ago now. Some 7 weeks back.
This is where me and John punched each other.
This is where the dwarf tried to fuck us over.
Poria,
Yes.
I understand that we need to get there as quickly as possible, but I do feel like some of us need rest for healing and other such things, and maybe prepare a little bit.
Tyblin, hearing this, does inform you that the plan, as far as Master Vitus told me, is that if you head directly to oh bother, what is it called? And he begins searching his notes that he had
Masonworth.
written down. Yes, there's a town of Masonworth. There is a tavern there. And what did he tell me? I believe it was called the that can't be right. The Silent Whistle.
You fucking cunt.
And it says, yes, if you visit the Silent Whistle, you will find someone waiting for you. He didn't tell me who. Apparently, you will simply know who this gentleman is once you meet him. But apparently, they'll have supplies and rest aplenty for you before you begin any actual investigation or actions within the peninsula itself. I do insist that you make haste, as I don't believe Master Lani at all told me how long this particular person will be waiting for you.
Not long. A few days at most. Can you provide us fast passage?
Of course. Horses are already prepared for you in the fort stables, along with a carriage. I believe that is your preferred method of transportation, or so I'm told.
That works.
Why do we need to go to Masonworth?
Masonworth would be where our ally, as Master Lani has told me, is where he is planning to stage his initial actions against the peninsula of Kerhar?
No other place that we can go. Mason Wars.
That's where we've been told to meet the man.
Fine.
Out of character. No, you are not stopping in Flaverton. No one is stopping in Flaverton. Flaverton is a reward for after this questline.
That's not what I was thinking about, but also Flowerstone is on the way.
No, you will meet Count Fieri when he is no longer on holiday.
Is Count Fieri on holiday?
He's recording a hot music video.
Yeah. He's he's doing a series all about dwarven cooking, and he's all the way up north. He's not there right now. I don't know.
Fine.
Yeah, Masonworth is where you will meet this ally that Masalani has mentioned.
I would like to pass the snow globe over to Tyblin and say, can you please give this to Rebecca? Seems pretty late to disturb her right now.
And he nods. Of course, I will endeavour to see her at some point tomorrow. She's been rather busy with the training as of late. I haven't seen hide nor hair of her in 3 days now.
Has she been learning her numbers and letters, do you know? I did speak to the...
Much more than that, I might imagine. She's a fast and studious learner. I believe she's turned her attention now to some rather heavy blacksmithing. It's rather terrifying to see such a small girl wield such a large mallet and hot steel. I'm rather glad that I'm not a smith nor a fighter, if I'm quite honest with you. I'm much more comfortable with the quill.
I'm glad to hear it.
And before you head on your way from, well, at least away from Tyblin towards the stables, he does stop Solgra one last time to inform her. I do have some concerns regarding the guardsmen. If you have time at all before travelling back to Mastalani, they left some 5 nights prior, heading north in search of some form of necromancer, and I do fear the worst.
When I get back, I'll look into it.
Thank you. I know I should think better of Captain Flint and his abilities, but 5 nights seems like an awful long time to be gone just north of Bjargath.
Yeah, I'll make sure that they're safe.
And he thanks you for that. I really should get back to my own studies. But I wish you well. And he looks across to the rest of the seminar. It was absolutely delightful to meet all of you. I've had so much. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Do you want me to sign some of the floor for you?
And he says, no, that'll be of no need. Your mere presence is signature enough. And also I have to clean those floors.
It's okay, I already signed all the floor back there. It's all good.
He has a look of horror in his eye, but a smile plastered to his face as he goes, excellent! Most fortuitous.
Yeah, I think ahead, you see. It's how you stay ahead in this game.
Of course. You're very forward-thinking. It's exactly how Sir Dondagod has described you, most assuredly.
Well, let's go.
So you follow Solgra out to the stables, Solgra being the only one amongst you who has a reasonably good knowledge of the fort in general, and has pretty much a working relationship with every member of the guard here. You see, as you follow Solgra to the stables, every member of the guard that you spot sort of stops in terror and immediately salutes Solgra. Sometimes dropping whatever they were carrying at the time, but just generally, it's a mixed bag of both fear and respect as the half-orc makes their way through Fort Dondagod. None of you at this point have ever seen anything like the sheer terror of some of these people, get alone mixed with this level of respect. And as you get to...
I want to go to Solgra and say, teach me.
Maybe some of them.
You are overheard saying that by a guardsman, a Goliath, in fact, who is just sat idly on a fence next to the stable, eating away at an apple, and he laughs as he hears that and sees Solgra approaching. Solgra, you recognize Grom from the second that you turn the corner to the stable, and he says, "You don't want that."
I don't want what?
You do not want to be taught anything by this one here. I'm surprised any of us survived a week. And he gets up and he gives Solgra a big hug. It looks like he's able to get away with a lot somehow, as everyone else is in absolute terror. And he smiles at the entire party, and he has a bit of banter with Solgra to the side, and then towards the rest of the party, he says, "I didn't expect to see Solgra, let alone the likes of you. What are you all back here for? Am I not doing a good enough job?"
Here to kick your ass.
And he laughs heartily, like, "Ha! Well, maybe."
We have business on this continent.
Oh, business, is it now? Someone's looking to take over the fort, eh?
No.
And again, he laughs like, maybe next time then. And he nods his head towards the stable and says, "Yeah, Ty told me to set up some horses for our special guests. If I'd known it was you, I would have done the worst job."
You are really cruising for a bruising right now.
And he chuckles as he begins to walk away to go do his own patrol. He's like, "I'm surprised you let me say that much without kicking my ass." He's like, "And now I'm gonna leave before you do."
Next time I'm here, me and you are sparring. I want to see if you've gotten any better.
And he waves without turning and says, of course," and he begins humming to himself as he sort of struts along his patrol route, whistling happy to himself. And of course, in the stable, you see that you've been gifted with 4 war horses and a large carriage.
I'd like to get close to Solgra and ask, since I'm learning, is that how grown-ups flirt on this plane?
Do you realize that 2 days ago I buried my husband?
Yes. I thought maybe that could have cheered you up. He big like you.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna ignore him.
I'm going to assume my cart driving position.
Do for me a animal handling check.
Have you ever had a dream?
Yeah, it's like, there. Animal handling, roll it now.
13.
Yeah, you'll just about get away with it. You're not used to the power of like a war horse versus a regular horse, let alone having 4 of them attached to the cart at once. You are going to be in for a surprise. You've gone from driving a Peugeot to a Lamborghini somehow.
I'm gonna look at all of the horses in the eye for a second, and I want to find the one which stares at me back for the longest time.
Really weird.
And then,
They all stare at you in unison.
I'm gonna keep staring until one of them, like, the one which like doesn't stop when I go boo.
None of them stop. As you look upon these horses, these war horses are from like hoof on the ground to like the saddle. It's about 6.5 foot, and they are made of like pure muscle. These things are the kind of like horses that you'd see a Goliath barbarian riding into battle, or something even bigger than that. These are built.
I dub all ye Esquire too. And then get on the cart.
Am I familiar with these horses?
You are familiar with one of them. One of them is in fact what you would have considered like your personal war horse while you were here at Fort Dondergod.
Can I go pet him?
You can. And
Thank you.
whatever you say goes in terms of describing this particular horse and naming it, as we didn't decide this prior.
No, we didn't. He's probably the most cantankerous one of the lot.
Yeah, that's the one that tried to bite Gershaw. It's exuding a very cantankerous vibe. It only seems to like calm down when you approach it.
I'm gonna feed him some of my rations.
It's very, very happy. It's still Mardy, but happy nonetheless. And it's pleased to see that you've returned after such a long time. The rest of you will find that this carriage that you've been granted is a pretty large carriage. It's the first time that you will really have been travelling in anything that you might consider luxury. The inside of the carriage is cushioned with very exquisite cloths and fabrics used throughout, and all of the wood seems to be a polished mahogany. And inexplicably, somehow, none of you, even with the best arcana or survival or any sort of nature check, can understand how the interior smells perfectly of some sort of lemon zest.
Check the ceiling.
You look at the ceiling. The ceiling actually. The ceiling actually has a wrist slit. I mean, sorry, no. The ceiling actually has the ceiling of the carriage actually has a fully carved coat of arms, specifically related to Jorn and Fort Dondergod.
I was expecting a little tablet that smells hanging off a little rope.
No, you find no tree. None of you can figure it out. It's got that zesty fresh smell to it.
Are there like passenger handles?
Well, there's a whole space on the roof with railings, as well as some sort of ledges built on the sides with railings that you can hold onto on the outside as well. So it looks possible that if this was used in a city, that some sort of guard could stand on either side of the outer parts of the carriage.
And how big is the internal part of the carriage that we're in?
This would take M quite well with the tape measure, I imagine. It's probably about... I'm trying to think this through. It's probably about 10 to 12 feet across. And then probably about 25 feet deep. And
so what you're saying
I don't
is we've
think
got
my
like a
measuring
mega limo.
tape is that big.
Yeah, you effectively got a carriage limo. It looks like it's probably used, or at least based on some sort of royal variant. You know, as far as you're aware, none of you know John to have any level of royalty to him, but he definitely seems to be the kind of guy with enough money that, you know, would get something like this made. And
We
as far
can
as...
fit.
Oh yeah. And as far as Grom's concerned, he was just told special guests were coming, and he just went and got the best possible things set up in the stable. And even if he'd known it was Solgru, he probably still would have done a good job. He just likes to annoy her as best as he can, since he was the most promising student.
Well, I'm gonna saddle up, and I'm gonna ride Fel instead. I'm not getting in the carriage. It's been a while since I've ridden a horse.
That's fine. That will get you. That will still get you guys there in a very short amount of time if you travel at full pelt. Down to
What ballpark amount of time are we thinking? What are we talking about?
if you set off right now, as it is not really super late evening. I think it's by the time you've done everything and gotten to Fort Dundagod and gotten to the stable and everything, it's probably somewhere in the realm of like 10:30 at night. So if you rode without stopping at full canter the whole way, you could get to Masonworth by sunrise.
Let's do it.
These are the best war horses.
Right. If you want to do that, guys, if you want to take a long rest in the carriage, I don't mind, just not.
Aren't you wounded? Aren't you
Nigger, I got
generally?
5 out of 66.
I'm gonna be nice and say that even with riding, all 7 of you will get your long rest as you enter the village. These war horses don't require a lot of like guidance once they get going, so Gersha could definitely snooze, and Solgru will probably find time to nap while riding as well, quite easily. These are well-trained animals, and if you ever wanted to try and purchase one of these, it would be an extortionate sum of money. Not even the guardsmen have been able to use this carriage or have access to these particular horses.
Okay, long rest.
Yeah, you hear that, guardsman in chat? You don't get these.
Can I use the from 10 p.m. till sunrise, whatever that is, the 4 hours that I'm not meditating? Can I go on with the book reading?
You can, and you will finish reading and deciphering as much as you can of Volume 2 in that time.
Okay.
You have learned all the secrets you could glean from Volume 2, and you're slowly beginning to piece together a ritual. Many key parts of this ritual are still a mystery to you, including several of the components required for the ritual, but you're beginning to get the basic understanding of the principles laid out and parts of how to perform the ritual from reading the first 2 volumes now. And so, as dawn breaks, the party enter the village of Masonworth. Actually, it's more of a town than a village. It's bigger than a village. You see the streets already lined with people going about their regular daily lives, but outside of that, you also see, and Kaporius, you're going to be the first person to spot this. You also see a number of Dragonborn, not Gold Dragonborn, but Dragonborn of what would be considered lower clans. All sort of huddled together with blankets. There's sort of a makeshift shanty town set up on the outskirts. Small tents and various coverings, and it looks like whatever gathered wild branches and flora and fauna, and maybe even some things donated by the village people themselves to sort of help out as best you can. But you notice that this shanty town is really quite large at this point, even for 3 days of Kurhar, the entire peninsula being in lockdown.
This is us we're riding in.
Yeah, this is as you're riding in, yeah. No one can see into the carriage.
I think I would like to disguise myself before leaving the carriage.
Out of character, you kind of already disguised, seeing as you did look different. And
Well, I'm still a massive golden fucking dragon with big old horns, bound to draw attention.
Do you have a disguise kit?
I actually have something better than that.
Oh.
I have an actual means of disguising myself.
I thought you were going to say you're going to break your nose.
I am the phallic dragon barbarian.
No, I'm gonna take a moment to myself, and I'm gonna cast disguise self on me, and those around me that are watching will sit on my eyes for a moment. Will roll back, or seemingly roll back into my head as the form around me starts to transform into still a dragon-esque, or dragonborn, but of a different color, a sort of red copper. No extravagant horns or extravagant features, very average as far as that would apply to Dragonborn.
That is most certainly a adequate disguise and will fool anybody you meet, unless they look real close. M?
Rick, I've sent you a DM. Unrelated to the disguise.
Okay.
But so that you know. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Oh, good point. Yes, Em, yes.
Okay.
Would you also like to disguise yourself?
I'm always in disguise.
You go with your typical roguish attire
Yeah.
and put the hood up. Caporius goes through all the effort of turning into a completely different looking copper dragonborn, and M just goes hood up.
Yeah. And I look at Capodius and I'm like, fancy outfit.
And so,
Can I?
yep, go on. No, what were you going to say?
Can I like pull Caporius's hood over top of him, like poke a hole through it through the horns, and then cast mending on it so that he's also hooded?
Yeah, you could.
I'm in disguise though. Like I don't actually have big horns anymore. Like
So you could just put his hood up.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Like for all intents and purposes, I look like an entirely different, similarly sized but otherwise entirely different being.
So as the two of you are disguising yourselves, and the carriage is still moving, Solgra, you direct your horse, which leads the carriage and the other horses, directly to the Silent Whistle, which is a large, sort of 3-story tavern. It's got a giant sign outside. It already looks nice and cozy on the inside. The fire is roaring, and there seems to be one or two patrons already just sort of sat enjoying their time over a mead. And there is, in fact, a stable besides the tavern, and it appears there is already a stable hand waiting for you as you approach, and he sort of waves you down and shows you his own sigil, which is not, in fact, the face of John Dondergod. That seems to be unique just to the Sneven, but instead shows the Dondergod coat of arms, and lets you know that he was expecting you, and guides you into the stable behind the tavern itself.
I hitch up the carriage, and then
Yep, the stable hand starts taking care of everything for you. He watches as the party dismount from the carriage and gives a small nod to Solgra and mentions, doesn't mention, just sort of nods his head towards the tavern and just very quietly says to you, inside.
I'll start making my way inside.
I nod back, give Fel a pet, and then head inside.
As you all enter the tavern, you find it's actually rather nice in this tavern. It's well constructed. It's looks very cozy and comfy. Nothing seems to be out of place. It doesn't look like the kind of place you'd run into a lot of bar fights. You imagine this would be the antithesis of the kind of bar that John Dondergod himself would hang out in. And everyone apart from M, roll a perception check for me, please. Actually, no. Everyone but M and Oscar. Oscar, you don't need to roll.
18.
Okay.
11.
Okay.
21.
24.
Damn, these are some high perception rolls for something that's not overly important.
Oh shit, it should have been 22 because I got +5 as well. I didn't realise it went up.
Fanny Boss, just waiting on you to roll.
You're also muted. Not muted, but volume.
Bruh. So, everyone aside from Fanny Boss and Shareed, you start picking up on a few things in this tavern. You start to realise that it's not just nicer than the average tavern that you've spent your time in recently. Oscar and Em already know why. They've spotted this the second they walked through the door. But the rest of you, it takes a while to pick up on. Fanny Boss and Shareed, you're just not interested. You're too busy with your own stuff to notice it. But you begin to realise that there's a mixture of design choices and architecture built into this tavern. Portions of it seem unfamiliar to you, and it takes a while before you start to understand why. And that is because this tavern mixes both human architecture with elven architecture. It's around this time you realise that the fire is actually not a traditional fire whatsoever, but in fact a fey fire pit. And the flame is actually cycling through various colours. When you walked in, it was, in fact, a red flame, as you would expect, but in the time that you've been stood here, it's now cycled through both greens and blues, and is lending a nice different glow around the room. And you notice then that several other flames are floating through the air, also small fey fires. And that is when you realise that the person behind the bar, who greets you as you enter, is actually half-elf themselves. And this half-elf, he smiles at you. He's got a nice, wispy long white beard and half-pointed ears. And he looks like he could be, a very traditional wizard if it wasn't for the fact that he'd got a rather nice shirt on and a bolo tie. And he beckons you towards the bar and says, what'll you be having?
Fey drinks.
And he nods at you and Oscar, and he double takes when he looks at you, and he reaches behind the bar, and he pulls up a drink and slides it directly to you, and gives you a short nod. You look at the drink and realise that this is actually M's signature drink. For the rest of the party, he gets whatever you want. There's a mixture of fey drinks, some of which you've been familiar with, and the usual fare that you'd get at any human tavern within Orraven. And after he's got everyone situated and sorted out, he leans across the bar and beckons M closer. And in a very small whisper, he says to M, "I best not catch you causing trouble round these parts. We good?"
I have no intention of doing that, sir. I'm here with my friends.
Good. Friends, that makes a change. No trouble.
Was that supposed to mean, excuse me? What do you mean?
How loud are you saying this? Are you drawing the attention of the rest of the Sneven, or are you going to let it go?
I'm gonna let it go.
And he steps away, keeping an eye on you as he goes back to constantly just cleaning and using a cloth to wipe out the same glass. He just never stops. He's just got his eyes on you and he looks busy, but he's not.
It's looking at everyone.
And so, yeah, you guys are just sat in a bar.
What kind of people are in the bar?
So, looking around the room, you see a large number of humans and elves in different dispersed groups. They all look like local regulars. Nothing looks quite sort of off and out of the usual. You do notice that there is a space set aside on this floor of the tavern. It looks like some tables and chairs used to reside there, and it looks as if it's made into some variety of mock stage. Although nothing currently resides there, apart from a metal box that you can't identify. It looks like it's got some sort of mesh on the front of it. It's unusual, but you can't really make out what it's meant to be. There are a few dials on it as well that you can just about make out, and a switch, but you're really not sure what this metal box contraption is. Oscar, roll perception for me.
Shall now, one moment. No! My god.
Type something else good.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Perception
It's
check.
fine.
Roll perception.
It's all roll perception. Apologies. No apologies. Everything's fine. 20.
Excellent. So you follow Kaporis's gaze, and you see this same metal box that's set on the floor of the tavern, and something about it strikes you as familiar. You think you've seen something of this design, or at least something of this concept, before, and all of a sudden you recollect the interesting. Did we ever give it a name? The electric theremin that you've been carrying around. You recollect its design and its own, as Gabby described it, amplification unit. Something about the design of this amplification unit on your theremin looks very similar to this large box sitting on the ground of the tavern.
You guys, I wonder if this has anything to do with our friend Gabby, the goblin. And I show them the amplification unit, and I show them the box, and I go, see?
And it's quite apparent to anyone paying attention to Oscar and also the metal box that they are of a very similar design, or at least similar design concept. Looking closer, it appears that it's missing something, probably some sort of cable.
I do warn the others that it's possible that this will go bang. It's quite probable that this will go bang.
I push every button on it.
As you attempt to press any button on this box, as you reach out, your hand is immediately slapped away, and as you look up, you see nobody, which forces you to look down again. And it is at that point where you spot a halfling who grins up at you with a shaggy mullet, a handlebar mustache, and what can only be described as aviator shades. As he says to you, "Now then, what you doing with my box?"
Pushing buttons. What do you do with
Still
my hands?
talking Tetris.
And he gives you a big, toothy grin as he pulls a cigar from his pocket and lights it. And he draws from it and grins again at the party. And says, I'm going to ask you once again, what you doing here?
I am trying to push buttons on the box, but I have been prevented by forces unknown. I want to push the buttons.
Who
What do
are
they
you?
do?
But you can't even hear Gershaw, you can only hear Shareed saying, I want to push the buttons. To which he just grins, and you don't notice him plug a cable in. But he says, go on then. Do it.
I push every button.
And when you push every button, nothing happens. You hear a slight whine and a whirring noise, followed immediately by what can only be described as an explosion of sound at a very, very high volume, which startles you and the entire group and everyone else in the bar. And as you look up from this metal box, actually, you see now that this halfling, clad in what looks like a leather jacket, although not this usual kind of studded leather you get for combat, but instead it looks tailored to be pointlessly stylistic, holding a red lute of some variety. Although, Oscar, you immediately recognize it to look similar to something Gabby has shown you, as he continues to play a very heavy riff, followed by an intricate solo as he grins at the party.
I improv duet with him.
Roll performance for me.
Oh my god, yes. Hang on.
Can I add to the roll by doing my Schnappy song?
Yes. That's
How
so
much does that give me?
roll performance with advantage.
And
That's
22.
22. You actually, the two of you at the same time, with the assistance of Shriek, come up with an entirely new song on the fly, improving it, and you actually have members of the tavern sort of like clapping or headbanging along with you, and at the end it all just erupts in cheers. People outside the tavern are kind of like just looking into the windows as to what's going on. It's such a, like an absolute spectacle. You actually make about. I mean, between the three of you, you just start to form a pile of gold of people throwing it as donations. And in the end, this chap's actually nice enough that he divvies it up three ways, and both Oscar and Shareed manage to make about 20 gold each.
Yes! Stunks! I asked the halfling, like, so, you know, how long you've been playing? You know, what's your deal? What's your story?
He laughs at the question, and again, he's focusing on the seven of you, and he just says, "Hey, now then, that were cracking that. Yeah, I think I'm your man, to be honest."
Can I say, short-ass bard, I'm gonna go ahead and assume, with John's stories, that you happen to be Otto Stumbletoe.
Got it in one, love. Right on. Bang on. Stumbletoe's name. Music's game.
Wait, is he really?
What do you mean, is he really? Of course I am. I'm sure you must have heard of me. Otto Stumbletoe, bard extraordinaire. I've played every region of every land you've ever heard of, and some you've not.
Yeah, John doesn't shut up about you.
And he smiles heartily. That's like, good to know. Good to know. I'm glad that old fool still talks about me at all. To be honest, he's always on about Ash. Anyway, and he comes and sits at your table after returning all the dials and switches and everything that Sharid had messed with to their original setting. And he sits himself down at your table. It takes him a minute. He has to like climb up onto one of the chairs. They're all a bit too tall for him. He's forgot his little step ladder. And he waves over barman who brings him a pint. And he sits there in his pint. And before you know it, a few plates of food have made their way out of the kitchen, and they're also now on the table. He doesn't care what you guys want. Food has just filled the table. He's just eating away at various mixed dishes as he idly chats. And after a bit of joking around and having a laugh with the party, he brings the tone a bit lower and nods at Caporius and says, "So then, go on. What have you heard so far?"
I heard the city is in a bad state. I heard that Darren was just going crazy, by the lack of a better word.
Crazy?
Building an army.
Kid's gone absolute loon. Says, I take it you saw that little shanty town outside, displacing all them residents. Honestly,
They make it out, and
I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know why people can't get in. I don't know why people can't get out. But that entire border, that peninsula right there, chock-a-block. No one's getting in. No one's getting out.
we need to get in.
Don't see how. Not without force, unless you've got a better idea.
Can we go check it out? Can we get an actual first-hand look of what the situation is?
Go on then. We can probably do that. Probably have a gander. Not sure it's going to get as far, but that's problem number one. Problem number two is once we're in there. Now, you're not going to like this, but we do have friends on the inside. Thing is, pretty sure they've been rumbled. So we're likely going to have to work sharpish, like, you know?
Yeah. Time to lose.
Now, I can definitely, you know, pull on a few favours and maybe get us a bit of help on the outside, but honestly, till we're in, it kind of rests on you lot. That's why I asked John to get you over here. I'm assuming John told you I were here and asking for you. No?
Yeah.
Oh, we did? Well,
Wait.
fancy that. John, actually talking about a plan up front for a change. Thought I'd never see the day. Now, and let me be absolutely, positively upfront about this. I don't know you, Caporius. I don't know your family situation. I have spent 5 minutes over a bag of crisps with you, and gonna have to extend you a lot of trust, all on yous. But if this thing goes sideways, and let's face it, things usually do, are you prepared to kill your father?
Prepared to do what I must. I will do everything in my power to make sure that it doesn't come to that, but
I just want to make sure you're ready. Because, let's face it, we're dealing with a dictator now. Vitas gave me some of the details. Apparently there's a bunch of, you know, mystical, end-of-the-world level shit going on. I'm no stranger to that. Solved my own fair share of world-ending shit in my day. But I'm getting fairly old, guys, so it's gonna be on you. I can't finish this. I can probably do my best to help you get inside the city, at least, and connect you with some people to help. But after that, I'm afraid it's just gonna be music for the rest of my days.
Get us in, and we will do what needs to be done. One way or the other.
And with that, he claps his hands, rubs his hands together. Right then, I'm off. Rest easy. Have a nice sit down. Get yourself a brew. I'll be back in an hour. And he stands up and walks directly out of the tavern. As soon as you think he's gone, he leans back in through the door. You can just kind of see him between the doors. And he points directly at Oscar and says, "And you play good, but don't you be touching my loot, yeah? Fingers off."
There. Cool. Gotcha. Don't worry, because I've got a fairly handsome instrument anyway, as it.
And he gives you a big thumbs up as he leaves the door, and he's gone. He's out.
I know
You
that he
would
has
take
not pointed
Boris.
to me to not touch the loot.
He didn't specifically say to you, but he doesn't know you, Sharid. He's probably telling the wrong person overall to not touch the guitar.
So I go over and and then I just run away. And I'm behind Oscar.
Before you can run away, as you're playing that, one of the patrons at the bar who had thrown some gold into the donations walks up to you, looks at you sternly, wags a finger, and takes one of the gold pieces back. And as his patron is walking away, he turns and sternly says to you, "And no stairway either."
You got cash back.
You take Boris.
Oh yeah.
Right. And fucking hell.
I completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Well, no. Not at all. My main worry right now, though, is not what I may have to do. It's who's already in there. Especially if they have been made. I don't think I'm ready to lose them once again. Not yet, anyway. Not for a lot of years.
Try our best to get them out.
Can I go up to the barkeep and see if they have pen and paper available?
Yeah, the barkeep will provide you
I
with
have pen and paper.
Oh.
I can give you pen and paper.
The barkeep doesn't get involved.
Okay, I say, well, I don't know what was his name? Mr. Stumpito?
Stumpleto.
Stumpletoe.
That's it. I don't know what he has planned precisely, but I figure, given that I grew up in the city, or well, in the more secluded parts of the city, I've spent some time out in the outer parts. Let's say I can give you a bit of an idea of what we're walking into in terms of layout. Let's say, and as I talk, I kind of sketch very roughly the kind of different layers of the city. There's a central portion, which is the palace, which is where, well, I spend most of my life. It's surrounded by the inner city, and then the outer city, very much tiered, walled off. I imagine protected to a bench at this point, especially. We'll find my father in the very center. We'll find probably most things. We'll find our fellows, if they have been made, in the very center.
If you don't mind me asking, who's Astoria?
She's my sister. Well, we grew up together, as you would imagine. She's younger than me. Walked a different course, though, as she... Well, Darimus would never have a female lead the city. That would be outrageous. So she wasn't quite prepped to take over the throne as I was. But we walked pretty much the same trajectory up until the day I, well, left.
We'll get it back for you.
Thank you. I finish sketching down the map. There's a big old path that leads down the edge of or from the start to the end of from the start of the peninsula all the way into it, working its way to the tiers of the city. It's a very coarse sketch. But it gets the job done. It shows the guardhouse that Stumpleton mentioned as well, or the border house.
All right, so you guys are all at full health, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you all had a long rest and you got all your stuff.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys spend your time in the tavern. Ends up being about 2 hours as opposed to an hour. Time is starting to draw on, and no sign of Otto yet. And then, all of a sudden, to the west of the tavern at a distance, you hear an almighty, thunderous explosion that rocks the ground. And looking from the window of the tavern, you can see smoke rising. And you hear a noise as the door is kicked into the tavern. And you see a familiar halfling sort of lean in around the corner, who just puts his thumbs up at the group and says, "Right then, it's go time. Get your shit, we're leaving."
Thumbs up. That's
And that is where we're going to end this week's session.
dear God.
So there you have it. That is that is the proper beginning now of Chapter 2 of the Ebon Death.
Yay.
And the
All right.
introduction of yet another original member of the Order of the Sacred Flame. And I was really looking forward to
Really
introducing it, Otto.
It was cool.
He was cool. I enjoyed jamming.
I keep he's trying, like, I keep losing. I need to watch more videos. I keep trying to, like, really throw him into the Yorkshire accent, but it keeps wanting to go other places. So he's a bit multicultural. He's been a few places. He's not just Yorkshire. He's travelled the world. He has.
Cultured man.
Yeah, he's played everywhere. You don't even know places that exist that he's played, but he's been there and he's done that. But there is a picture of him on the World Anvil, I believe. It's one of my favourite character designs. So yeah, that's going to do it for episode 22. And assuming everything works on OBS as it normally does, I should be able to go through the list of the fantastic people who have joined us for 22 straight weeks to play my dumbass story that I've written. So starting
In
with
5 months.
I know, right?
And
a
it's
long
been
time.
very cool.
So starting with Man of the Hour, Corporius Carolon, whose art is now out of date, as is his description, and both need to be updated. As played, of course, by Third Capo.
Look at those feeble little horns. SMH.
Yes, that is Corporius 1.0. We are now on Corporius 2.0. The Corporius Activated Windows Edition.
Also, we should all strike to be, really.
And playing the troublemaker in the background, getting up to all kinds of ruckus that no one's aware of. We are joined by Violin Solo playing M, the Eladrin Rogue.
You keep backstabbing me like throughout the whole session.
I'm not backstabbing you, I'm pulling from the backstory that we discussed. I mean, if you've forgotten your own backstory, that's not on me.
I did not. I poured the Shirley.
Yes. We'll let people figure out what that means before next week. And we're joined, as usual, by pain in the DM's backside, part man, part bird, all cactus. Cactus Room playing Shareed, the Aarakocran.
I didn't mean to split the party. I'm sorry.
Although that led to one of my favourite improv moments with the egg. That was... the egg and cleric bit was absolutely a highlight. I need to clip some of that.
Gold.
And joining us this week, after saying he wasn't going to be here this week, but then arrived anyway just on time, we are joined by the strangely acrobatic Fanny Boss, as played by Russell_the Dude. It's impossible to stop him from backflipping, front flipping, cartwheeling. Who knows what he's going to do next?
We all want to be like him, as was shown by this session.
Exactly. He can't.
And his acrobatics.
He's secretly the most popular character, and no one has realised it yet. One day there'll be Fanny Boss merchandise. Just you wait.
Oh, yeah.
And master of jam sessions, Oscar, the Wood Elf Bard, played of course by AODHQ, who actually got to use the theremin finally. Been waiting for opportunities to let you actually do some music things in game.
I meant to set up some sounds and stuff for that, but sure enough. I'll get it working at some point.
There'll be plenty more opportunities to jam with Otto, I'm sure.
Cool.
We can definitely make that happen.
Nice.
And of course, joined by man with footprint on back, Gershaw, as played by Guitar CR. Now technically property of Fanny Bus.
Yep. That was official.
Yeah, his name's on your back. In some dwarven cultures, you're actually now like Commonwealth married.
Yeah.
You'll have to check with Fanny Boss as to whether or not it's his culture or another dwarven culture.
Sorry, I'm in a dedicated relationship with the floor.
If Gershaw ever looks closely at the footsteps of Fanny Boss, you will see that Fanny Boss is in fact printing his name all over the floor wherever he goes.
Well, the floor ignores those as bad attempts at courtship.
Sounds like a weird, like, polyamorous relationship.
No. The plot between man, dwarf, and floor gets ever thicker. Let's see how this resolves next week. And of course, finally, we are joined by somehow managing to cope with life despite having buried husband second time only a day and a half ago, and now is dealing with the possible incursion of a foreign country. Solgra, the half-orc barbarian, as played by Schliefudi. Doing well to keep your wits about you, considering everything I've put you through in like the last 3 sessions.
I'm thriving. It's fine.
Yeah, it's going well. And again, thank you to everybody that joined me this week in chat to hang out and watch, and thank you again to everyone that still, after 6 months, almost 6 months, is still playing this stupid storyline. And for those of you that are enjoying my dumbass writing of making all this happen, we will of course be back next Wednesday for episode 22, where you all get to find out what just exploded, which I always think is a great cliffhanger. You got a week to try and figure out what just exploded. Something just exploded, and Otto's like, "Get out of here, we're going." Like
23.
23.
Oh, of course, yeah,
Next
23.
week. Today is 22.
I mean, it's literally in front of me, and I just chose not to read that number. And actually, like, compute. Either way, we will be back next Wednesday, whatever episode number it is. We're always here on Wednesday evening. And if you cannot wait for another Wednesday evening session of the Ebon Death, there is always The Campaign. Yes, that's its official name. Over on Cactus Room on a Sunday at the exact same time, where I get to play just one character instead of, like, 7 a week. So, that's nice. But on that note, I'm going to end the show, and we will see you next time we are doing D&D. So until then, have a good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever the hell you are in the world. Make it good.
Are we gonna wiggle again?
Everyone, prepare to wiggle. Commence the wiggle.
Rogue wiggle.
I can't change the scene if I'm wiggling.
We're wiggling forever.
Today, we pay homage to the streamer's salty snack of choice, and the capo who's brave enough to defend their honor. Sit back and listen for a while, friends. You're in for one hell of a salty surprise. Sometimes streaming requires a meal, but the chat won't let you enjoy your snack. Unrelenting in that mockery, you fire back with words of wisdom and attack. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Yeah! Sodium's getting high, and vitamin B12. You're getting nourishment from the nuts variety that you do. You may think of dirty jokes, all your 69 tropes. But Capo continues lunch, he continues to munch. You didn't turn your back on them, although they're making your mouth dry. You'll never go hungry again until your death counts 60 high. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. Damn you, rotating cube! Shut up! Let me munch my nuts. 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 Shut